I'm really pushing it this week, Michael.
Are you pushing it really good?
I got all. Yeah, I am. I had it's an all day coffee day, so it's like not one coffee to get ready to do like recording content. It's like all day coffee.
So you did the IV drip of coffee,
pretty much. It's like, I don't know. I've had 5 cups of coffee today.
Oh my God, seriously?
It doesn't work anymore, man. It doesn't do anything. I think I've just got to switch over to like pure weapons grade cocaine at this point, or meth. I hear that's all right, right? They say just one. No, they say don't even do it once, because you want to do it all the time, and it's so good for you that you'll love it.
Well, if you use weapons grade meth, you turn into the Batman of Zero and R.
Oh, there we go.
That's a whole thing.
The Jeff of Zero and R. Yeah, it's just purple and yellow and red. Yeah, that's. There have been a few Rage Selects that have been close to the Jeff
Pretty
of Zero
close,
and R. Anyway, welcome back, everybody, to the Rage Select podcast here at Rage Select. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mike. And Grant Morrison is a crazy person, but I love them.
Is it Grant Morrison?
Yeah, they wrote Batman R.I.P.
Oh, okay.
Where they injected him with weapons grade crystal meth.
Is that what happened?
That's an actual line in there. The reason I remember it as well as I do is because Martin tried to explain it one time on the Leog. And when he got to that part, everyone just lost their fucking minds.
I like Grant Morrison. I've liked a lot of Grant Morrison.
I love Grant Morrison too. I'm just saying Batman R.I.P. is batshit insane.
Okay, well, fair enough. Yeah, we got a weird one this week. I don't know. We got this Capcom did some like highlight bullshit, but what they showed is it's just the games that we already know about for the most part. It's mostly just the shit that we already know about.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's kind of an answer to a question that I've had for a while, but before we get to that, Michael, I didn't manage to watch anything this week because I was so busy doing things and stuff all week. But last week, drunk Jeff decided to rewatch a movie that I haven't seen in a long time, and I was pleasantly surprised at how well it holds up. You know, like sometimes you go back and you watch a movie that you really liked, and you're just like, oh no,
yeah. It turns out 20-year-old me was terrible at this.
You know what? I used to really like Farscape. I used to really like Farscape.
Oh, no, I get that, yeah.
And then I went back one day to try to, I was like, I'm just going to rewatch Farscape. I don't have anything on my list. And so I was like, oh, right, this is kind of cheesy. And like, the first time I watched it, I was in my 20s. And then the second time I watched it, I was in my 30s. But the nostalgia made up for it. But now I feel like I've been watching such premium TV for like 10 years that I'm like, oh, I don't want to sully my memory, so I just stopped. I was just like, nope, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm out.
I get that 100%. I don't remember the last time I did that, but I remember when it did, it hurt real bad.
Yeah.
Because I was telling people, like, you're going to love this thing.
Yeah.
And I watched it, and I was like, oh no. That did not hold up to my memories. Although the recent time it did, it held up very well.
Yeah.
Which was the... what the fuck was it? Businessman Koala or something like that?
Okay.
Can't remember the name, but it was this crazy fucking Korean film that I discovered when I was in college. And I showed it to Blake and his friends. And they were like, that thing was batshit insane, but they loved it.
There you go.
I was like, sweet. And so it holds up even better than I remember.
Well, I didn't watch anything nearly as controversial, and I'm not going to tell anybody anything they don't already know, but I was watching that The Gentleman show, which I talked about last week, and it turned out I watched the whole thing, and it was pretty good. It was like solid 7 out of 10, really worth watching. But there was one episode where they were playing that French song that starts with all the like kind of like opera stuff that was in Inception, you know, that they used to get out of the things in Inception. And drunk Jeff was like, I just want to watch Inception. Fuck a bunch of this.
So he just wants to watch Inception.
British bullshit. I just want to watch Inception again. I it's been a long time. I remember really liking that movie. So yeah, I just threw on Inception. Turns out Inception holds the fuck up.
That's good.
Like most of the other Nolan stuff, it turns out, Michael, I don't really like most of the rest of Christopher Nolan's movies.
No, it's true. I still remember because as much as
Oscar Award winner
love The Dark Knight.
Yep.
Jeff was the only person on the planet who will out loud say that he didn't care for The Dark Knight.
Yes, that's
and
true.
Every drunk person within a 50-mile radius will hear it and argue with him
and then
every single time.
I have to become the guy with the hockey pads. I'm like fighting off fucking fanboys.
It was
fighting off hockey pad guys.
The last time he did it, this one fucking drunk guy was just like, what? Like just insanely upset. And it was just like, what's happening?
I don't hate it. I just don't like people who are like, it is the greatest movie of all time, and I'm like, you need to watch more movies, my man.
That's
like
true,
you need to watch, if that's your like, it's not a bad movie, it's fine, but like
me and Martin make fun of The Dark Knight Rises a lot though, because of the endings of The Dark Knight.
Sure.
Because the way it ends is like he can take it, you know, because he's the Dark Knight.
Right.
Like, it turns out his ass quit the next day.
Yep.
And it's just like, come on, guys.
No, well, the thing is that I like to say I'm a brave truth teller, Michael. I say the things that people won't say. One of the things I don't really care for about Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy is that series of movies is about one man trying to not be the Batman.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to do it in the first movie.
He really doesn't want to be Batman.
In the second movie, he's tried to quit. He's like, if Harvey Dent cleans up the city, I'm going to fucking quit. In the third one, he already has quit. And then he gets broken by Bane and he fucking gets thrown in like, and then at the end of the movie, he quits again. He's always trying to quit being Batman.
Yeah.
He's like, he's like NBB, never be Batman. Like, he doesn't want to do it. He doesn't have like the mental illness that the Batman of the comics has. Anyway, I wasn't talking about Batman. I didn't mean to get off on this topic.
Well, this shows the Christopher Nolan thing is what we're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the Batman movies are fine. I don't like them as much, but it's because I have so many other Batman comics that I like more than just those. A lot of people, I think, like, if you haven't read a lot of Iron Man comics and then you watch the Jon Favreau Iron Man, you'd be like, wow, this is really good. And it's like, oh, come on, man. I got some real good stuff for you.
Really great, fantastic stuff.
Like, that was the first taste. Here, let me give you the real shit. Let me give you that real shit. Let me give you that Mark Waid Captain America. Like,
Gene did that to me with Captain America. He's like, read this.
Yeah.
And I bought this omnibus. I'm like, no, he's right.
But Inception, it holds up, man. It's like, the thing is that after Inception, when you look at Interstellar and Tenet and Oppenheimer, with Oppenheimer, I'm like, I think that you pulled out a lot of cinematic tricks to try to make a really boring man interesting.
Yeah, that's the thing about biopic movies, especially a movie like that.
Yeah, because he doesn't ever fight Bane, not once in the entire movie.
He doesn't once like get into a plane.
I was like, when does he become the Scarecrow? And they were like, never. And I'm like, what? Iron Man is here, and the Scarecrow is here, and they're not going to fight each other.
Doesn't he fight Hitler with his bare hands or something?
Yes.
When does that happen?
When does he get caught in the atomic explosion and become the Incredible Hulk? Come on, man! It's
when
right
does he
there.
meet Indiana Jones?
But Inception has such an easy to understand plot. Like the idea of like, we're going into people's dreams, and then that gives you the ability to do all of this kind of crazy ass
it's that perfect
imagery.
It's that perfect balance where it is weird, but you can understand it.
Yes.
Whereas Tenet is not that in any shape, way, or form. and he's come out. He's like, you're not fully supposed to understand Tenet. Like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
And then just, man, I tell you what, like, he's got good actors in a lot of his movies, but Tenet, it's like every one of the people in that cast is fucking top notch. Yeah. They got Michael Caine in there as just a throwaway. Like, he's just like some bullshit. Like, they have Tom Berenger in there as just like a side character. That dude was a movie star. Like,
there was a lot of everybody was an Oppenheimer, pretty much.
Inception.
But you mentioned Oppenheimer as well.
Oh, I was talking about Inception. I was talking about Michael Caine and Tom Berenger. They're in Inception, not Oppenheimer.
Sorry. Like, the problem is you said Oppenheimer at some point.
Sure.
And then my brain just got caught up in it.
The explosions.
The problem with Christopher Nolan. Yeah. No, actually, it wasn't even Oppenheimer. I think we were talking about Tenet for a second.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. Christopher Nolan in general is hard to understand. So apparently it's fucked up my entire brain if his name comes up.
I don't think he used to be hard to understand. I think
he didn't used to. Yeah.
He had a ramp up. Like, Memento is complicated, but it's easy to understand. It's no fucking primer or whatever, right? You don't have to have a flow chart to understand what's going on in Memento. It's fine. It's a mystery. It goes backwards, and then you're like, oh, I get it. And he's built up. The Batman movies aren't exactly the twistiest of twists.
No.
But he got to basically like a really sweet spot of complexity with Interstellar, and then he was like, but what about more? And I'm like, no. I don't want to see a man fall through a black hole of bookcases and figure out that the secret of the universe is love. No, thank you. It turns out that they went backwards and forwards the entire time, and they're having a war from backwards in time and forwards in time, and I'm like, how the fuck does that even work? How do the backwards guys shoot the forwards guys with backwards bullets? I don't know. Do the bullets go backwards?
It doesn't make any sense.
What is happening? Like,
it generally doesn't make any sense.
If that was the way that was happening, wouldn't the person that you shot have to have been like dead in the present? Wouldn't at one point they just like go blat and then they just die? And then as you go backwards in time, they go blah, 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 and then a bullet comes out of that. How the fuck does that? Never mind. I don't care.
It doesn't matter.
Anyway,
but Inception, yes.
Rules. Great soundtrack. Tom Hardy's in there. Fucking charming Tom Hardy.
That was one of his first really big roles, was that movie.
Yep. It was like Bronson, I think, before that. And
before that
Star
was
Trek
Bronson.
Nemesis. Let's not forget.
Don't forget him as Tiny Picard.
Yes, a skinny Jean-Luc. Anyway, Inception totally holds up. I recommend everybody go watch it. It's like $2 to rent on any service that you may want. Holds up. Solid.
Well, that's good.
What about you?
I've been playing just a shit ton of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yeah.
That's all I've been doing.
I've been playing a lot of Unicorn Overlord.
So much of it. It's just like I like it a lot, but the problem is it has all of the issues the last game did, which is them padding out this PS1 game. Mm-hmm. Like, and I don't mean like the changes they made in the story. I mean in like, hey, here's a side quest that takes way too long than it should. Because we just decided why not kind of thing. Because you're like, you just need to find these greens, but to find these greens you got to beat 5 guys or 3 guys at a card game, or you have to like chase down a cactar and beat it to death, or you have to like fight in an arena. I'm like, I just want the greens, guys. I just want to race this chocobo. Why are you making this so hard?
I just need some kale, my brother. Like, seriously, can I go to a store and buy kale?
And it's just like, and it's full of shit like that, because you'll be like, oh, I just got to open this door. And it's like, well, to open this door, you got to grab this thing that you drag it 1 mile an hour.
Sure.
Or even less than that. And to take way on the other side of the section and then grab a thing to connect it to the thing and then open the door. I'm like, just let me open the fucking door.
Do you feel like your time is being disrespected?
It kind of is. It really is. It's like, I want to just look at fucking Nomura and be like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude?
Yeah.
Like, the pacing in this is all fucked because of it. Because you get this huge, like if you do the main plot, it probably won't feel as much as that, because there's some easier ways to get some of the stuff done. But if you do everything, because I'm doing everything on the side, so you don't at me just because you're like, oh, you're doing everything, so that's what's wrong. No, the point is, if I do everything, the game should still feel like things are going smoothly, and not that I've wasted 15 hours clearing out an area. Because it's like, I never feel like that when I play the Spider-Man side missions. I never felt like that when I played even the Far Cry side missions.
It's also like, I have a hard time with people who are like, you should just mainline the story. And I'm like, dude, listen, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want somebody to be like, hey, hero, I need your help. And you're just like, no, I got things to do. You and your fucking starving family can go fuck off. I've got some Twinkie boy to go, like, chase after.
Well, the other thing is that when people were like, don't do that, but then you'd be like, oh, I'm really stuck on this one part. Well, if you do this one side quest that you would have done like 30 hours ago, you would have gotten the Ultima whatever thing that will drop kick a guy in the nuts. You're just like, then why did you tell me not to do any of it?
Yeah, it's all true. So,
that's the main issue.
Are you enjoying it?
I am enjoying it. The problem, but like I said, the problem is a game that could have been 40, 50 hours long in general is now like 90 hours long or something.
Sure.
Like I'm 50 hours in, I think, now. Yeah. And I still haven't even ran into Sid yet.
Wait, you're 50 hours in and you're
running like 50 hours in, kind of thing. I think the next thing I'm doing is running in the Sid. But I'm still doing side missions. I had to help this old lady find her chickens.
You got to get Michael. Those are some bad numbers. You got to get those numbers down, man. You got to get those numbers down. You got to quit helping old ladies with their chickens. I
took a break to play with Mario vs. Donkey Kong on Mario Day.
Yeah,
because I ordered Mario vs. Donkey Kong with a gift card my brother had given me, and I was like, well, it's Mario Day, so I might as well play Mario vs. Donkey Kong instead. And so I did that, and that was way breezier. But that story is really the main thing that's keeping me going forward.
Sure.
And the weird story that seems to be attached to the card game part of it also has me interested, because I'm like, what are you people doing with this card game side quest?
This is like the anti-Jeff game. I have no interest whatsoever.
It's weird as shit. It's super weird. I enjoy it, but the problem is I don't know if I could ever recommend it to someone who doesn't have a rampant love of Final Fantasy VII.
Sure.
That's the problem I have with it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's kind of where I am. Again, it's like the Dark Knight. I liked Final Fantasy VII, but the way that some people talk about it, I'm just like, I don't have that feeling. Like,
No.
and this isn't me like the internet. I got to preempt all this bullshit. This is not me saying Final Fantasy VII is bad or even the remake is bad. It's just like if I loved that game as much as people tend to love that game, then I would be ecstatic that somebody had taken that game and made even more and even more. Hell, I'm waiting for the Elden Ring DLC to come out in July. I've been talking about how like I want to make a whole second Armored Core 6 just so I can play more Armored Core 6. When I like a game, I play the shit out of it. I played Hitman for like 500 hours or some bullshit like that, like way too much. It's just I don't have that connection with the characters of Final Fantasy VII. Like,
and I can't blame you. Like I find myself loving Cloud more and more as time goes on, but more in this game than I did in the other one. More because I'm like, I get what they're trying to do with him in this game, and it ends up working a lot more for me than it doesn't.
Okay.
So,
well, I tell you what. We have nothing to say about Final Fantasy VII, but we do have a lot to say about a lot of other games.
Yes.
So let's go. That was horrible.
A lot has happened.
Just talk about this news, man. We got
let's
some
just
news.
go in.
I don't even know if we're going to get, like, I've been trying to kind of like do this new format with the podcast where we talk about whatever the big thing was for 45 minutes. Then we do all the news roundup, and then we do the trailers, and then we're done. I don't know if I've got 45 minutes in me this week. Like, not even that I don't know if the news has that much news.
Oh, okay.
Because they have this Capcom highlights. Like, I went out to the internet and I saw this Capcom highlights video, day one, and it's 48 minutes long. And last night I sit down to watch it and I was like, oh, okay. This is 20 minutes long. This is 20 minutes of actual announcements, and then 28 minutes of the creator of Dragon's Dogma 2 and a bunch of Twitch streamers fucking around with that character creator thing that they downloaded, making their cats and like some guy and like yada yada
I saw somebody make Larry David with it.
Right. Well, we'll get to that. We got that on here. Don't worry. It was a slow news week.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, the first day of this had two games, and one of them was that game that fuck, what's it called?
Is it the not
Kinetsu no what is it called? Fuck off with your shit. Kunitsu Gami Path of the Goddess.
Is that the name of it?
Yes. And I tell you what, I think last week I was talking with Blake about the Xbox Partner Direct, and they showed a trailer for this, and I was like, you know, I like the visuals, but I want to see what kind of actual game this is. Well, guess what? They showed what kind of actual game this is, and it is bumming me out a little bit. I don't know. Like, maybe they can make it work, because like when we first saw it, it looked like kind of an Onimusha third-person action game. Yeah. But what it really is it's a tower defense game.
Yeah, which is kind of a bummer. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, you've got to purify these villagers, and then you assign them like a combat role, and then you set them up on the map like Brutal Legend style, and then every evening, like, these torii gates open, and all of these Oni and demons come out, and then you've got to like protect your princess, who's like the summoner lady that you see, from getting like mowed down by these people, and you can like move the villagers around and change their classes. You could like pop special moves. There's also like weird kaleidoscope stuff with the.
That is fascinating.
And then sometimes there's like bigger bosses that'll come out that you'll have to fight with like more stuff. And like the whole thing is that it's just like there's this like giant mountain that's become corrupted, and you're like trying to take this princess to the top of the mountain. Take this summoner. She's not a princess. She's like a summoner.
She's a goddess or whatever. She's a path of goddess.
She's like a priestess. That's what I'm trying to say. She's a priestess. And you're trying to get her to the top of the mountain, and you're trying to do that. The thing is that, like, this is one of those cases I'm more than willing to give this thing a shot, but I'm starting to get some big Exoprimal vibes out of, like, you know, Capcom, I know you know how to make a game, but even if you made the best version of what you've just shown me, I'm not sure that I want to play it.
Same, to be honest. Like, I love the visuals and everything else going on with it, but I'm not a fan of the... Like, even... Because, okay, as much as I like Brutal Legend, the part of Brutal Legend I hated was that part.
Yeah.
Was the RTS-y thing that they added, tower defense-y stuff that they did, because it was just annoying. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I was having a fun with this, like, Legend of Zelda metal theme.
Sure.
And then you were like, but what if it had an RTS mode? I'm like, man, I don't want to do this.
I don't want to do that.
Like, I still did it, but, you know, like, I really forced myself to do it. And
Yeah.
I don't, and that's the problem is I don't want to force myself to play a game, especially now when I barely have time for things that aren't Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Apparently,
But here's the thing: is that I do want. This game has one more chance with me, basically, and that chance is I want to see like a full. I said this last week. I'm going to say it again because now I've seen what the gameplay is. The gameplay is not super compelling to me. I want to see a full story trailer. Like, what is the story? Who are these characters? If they're compelling characters, I might be willing to play this, even though I feel like a lot of times when this style of tower defense starts to get really hard, my brain is just like, I don't know how to do this, and I'm not interested in trying it.
well, I had to do that recently with the side quests, and again, Final Fantasy VII.
God damn it, Michael!
It's this tower defense like side quest.
Yeah,
that's very much like. I don't want to think about how annoying this is that I'm like, I have to send this guy over here and this guy over here. And I kept losing that. I looked it up on YouTube.
Right.
Because I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, like, Capcom's been pretty good about giving out like demos. So maybe there'll be a demo that shows. Because all I'm seeing here is just like, everything I'm seeing here, I'm like, nah, that's all right. Like, I'm cool.
Yeah.
You guys could keep that shit. It's also very weird because it's just like, this is obviously somebody's passion project, right? It's like, it's not Onimusha.
No.
It's not even an Onimusha-like game.
It's so different than anything else they've done. This is the only thing that I like about it is that it is different than anything else that Capcom has been releasing recently.
Yeah.
But the problem is it's a bit too different for me specifically, but I'm sure it'll find somebody.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very weird looking. Again, I feel like I think I've said this in the past, but Capcom, I feel like keeps missing the point. Like, they really understand the point of Resident Evil. They really understand the point of like re-releasing things like the Phoenix Wright collection or like Ghost Trick or, you know, here's some Resident Evil. We know you guys like Resident Evil. Here's some Resident Evil. And then it's like, what else do you guys want? And they're like, Onimusha. And they're like, what about this? It's not Onimusha. And I'm like, no, I wanted Onimusha, not like tower defense. Like, what else do you guys want? Dino Crisis. You mean a live service game where you fight dinosaurs as a mech? No, Dino Crisis.
It's like, yeah.
Like, what about
What's
this?
wrong with you guys? Yeah, like it's like the older, not the older, but it's like it reminds me of the games Capcom was releasing in the 2000s or the 2010s actually, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
because that was the dark period of Capcom, where it's just like things were just crapcom as people were calling it back in the day.
I mean, and who knows? Like, this may be fun. I don't know. Like,
what's the problem? Like, I can't say it's going to be garbage more because it's just not for me to begin with.
Yeah.
And even if I played it and I was like, I'm just bad at this, I'm gonna admit that no, I am just bad at it. And it's probably not a bad game.
It's like
until somebody who like is really good at these type of games tells me it's bad.
Yeah.
Then I'll be like, okay, maybe it's just a bad game.
It's like if somebody served you the best Hawaiian pizza in the world. The absolute greatest homemade sauce, fresh pineapple right off the vine.
Just like the most like delicious
Canadian
looking Hawaiian
bacon
pizza ever.
Directly from Toronto, just the whole 9 yards.
And I'm just not going to like it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. And then, of course, there's just one other thing in here. And honestly, man, it's like, okay, well, let me think. Is there anything else in here that I missed? They're releasing it in a whole bunch of different languages. It's going to be in a whole bunch of different languages, and no, that's about it. It's going to be on Game Pass.
Will it be in Klingon?
It'll be on Game Pass, so that's actually
okay.
like
well,
a good.
That's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
That's the thing that Capcom has done, luckily, with the games that I don't care about, which is they've been throwing them on Game Pass to give me enough of a chance to want to try them.
Yeah,
which is what they did with Exo Primal as well.
The second one was another Dragon's Dogma 2 trailer.
I'm kind of sick of seeing Dragon Dogma trailer. Like, just release the goddamn thing and just be done with it.
Well, it comes out next Friday, so
still though, you know what I mean? Like, this is like the 1,000th trailer we've seen of this thing.
I know, and the thing is that like they had my money. They had to shut up and take my money on the third trailer. Yeah. Like, I didn't need it anymore.
It didn't take a lot.
And they're like, what about a character trailer for the pugilist? I'm like, no, just give me the fucking game, man.
Yeah, like I can only get so erect, guys.
Yes.
Like, you need to just give me the damn game.
There are a couple of really interesting things. They show off a little bit of some other areas, like less of this kind of medieval Europe. They show some kind of like desert stuff. They show off a couple of really interesting things. One of the things they showed that was kind of cool was like you can fight a monster and then kite it into like a city.
Oh my god!
And then like the city guards will help you to fight it, and like people run away, but it might affect your reputation a little bit. And it like the thing is that I gotta be honest though, this game looks fucking phenomenal.
It does.
Like that RE engine, they're really pushing it, and it looks really, really good. Like I went back and downloaded the original Dragon's Dogma, and I was like, even when this came out, it was good, but it was still kind of like it didn't look as good as like Dark Souls.
Well, there was a reason why that game didn't like get as popular as it was at the time.
Yes,
like that's a game that gained its popularity as time went on.
Right, through word of mouth.
Yeah.
So yeah, but then there's a lot of really, really, really crazy shit going on in here. Like you know how they were talking about the pawns, right? And how like the pawns are able to. Like you're not able to play multiplayer because everybody was like, "Can you play multiplayer?" And they're like, "No, the pawns are there." But like they show this interaction with this one pawn here, and there's a reason I think for this. So like this one pawn that they show a power where this person is I think it's like, oh, this is a different thing. They show where like one of the pawns, like because you can have up to 3 pawns in your party, and they all have like specialized powers, like different things they can do,
different classes and stuff. Yeah,
but more than that, they have like unique skills. So they'll be like, like this whole culture speaks a different language, but if you have this person in your party who's like translator, then you can understand everything. But otherwise, you can't understand anything they're saying. But like one of the people that they saw, and I was like, oh fuck, this game might be something really special. Was like a merchant, like somebody who had like a merchant sub skill who was like, hey, do you have anything you want to get rid of? I will buy it from you right here. Like, you don't have to go back to town.
That's crazy.
I will buy it off of you right now. And I was like, like, not since Torchlight had the ability to send a dog back to town to sell your crap. Am I just like, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's amazing. That's crazy shit.
Also, this interaction is really weird where they show like there's different ways to solve a situation. They show a quest where somebody wants a key and the character goes to like a shady counterfeiter to just, instead of going and getting the key that they need, they just have them forge a counterfeit key that doesn't work but looks like the key that they're supposed to turn in for the quest, and they go turn this fake in to get the money for the quest.
That's fascinating.
But they could be found out and damage your reputation, and I'm just like, well, now hold on.
Yeah, that's actually like a really good like risk reward situation.
Yeah, so there's some really interesting stuff going on in here. It looks like that dude who made Dragon's Dogma was like, oh, it's been like 10 years and I can finally make Dragon's Dogma, but put all that shit in that I wanted to put in that I couldn't put in on like a PS3 game. So
that's amazing. Good for them.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. They also talked about, they put out the character creator. You can download it now. Apparently it's fucking crazy. We'll go back to that almost at the end of the show. Some kind of crazy mofos. But apparently
it's very intricate. Yeah.
Like you can knock out individual teeth.
Really?
I think like
that's crazy as shit.
Like
that explains a lot.
So yeah, you can download that now. Then they're also, this is really interesting. They're making pawns. They're having Twitch
pawns.
Streamers make pawns the thing you can maybe get with like a code or something in the game. Like,
that's fun.
So one of them is like Maximilian Dude. I don't know any of the rest of these people.
I don't know
like,
the other three
Fight
either.
Cowboy.
I only know Maximilian Dude.
But here's the thing: is they keep going. Like it's like all these, and I recognize Miss Mikasa, I guess, and then there's like some Asian Twitch streamers.
Shocker does not look like a real person.
Lots of people. So
I only recognize one of those people.
Right, but you do recognize one of them.
Yeah, I recognize Maximilian. He's the only one I would probably try finding.
And I'm just gonna say, Capcom, shame on you. I would have created the world's worst pawn. Okay, like if you would have given me the ability to make just like a fat dumpy pawn that doesn't know how to fight, I would have done it. I would have put myself in that
you would have
game.
just added fucking all of the guys we've made. Loco Steve would have been a pawn.
It would have just been Loretta. It just would have been Loretta.
It would have been Loretta.
It just would have been Loretta.
But if they would have let us make us more, then it would be the rest of us, is what I'm saying.
It wouldn't have been Loretta. It would have to have been Bertukson. Like, I want that old man and his ponytails to just show up in people's games like, you need some help.
That's fair.
Anyway, yeah. That's a really fun idea.
No, it's a great idea.
So,
and technically we could, because as far as I know, a lot of the pawns people find are based on stuff people make or something. If I remember.
When you make a pawn, it gets uploaded and into a pool, and then the people on, I think, your friends list, I think everybody but the people on your friends list are much more likely to encounter that pawn. And it'll say like RageSelect's pawn, and it'll be, you know, just some fucking horror show that I've released into the world.
You're going to, and I know it.
don't give away the ending, even though I just said it.
We already knew it was going to happen.
My goal is to ruin other people's games, Michael. I don't want anybody to have fun. I think I've made that clear by now. If I'm not having fun, nobody's having fun.
That's fair.
That was it. That was day one. Like 14 minutes. They have an interview with the director. They asked him like what his favorite boss is, and they talked a lot about the that was where they showed the pawn that was able to like buy your shit.
The merchant.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
They also asked him like who his favorite boss was. He talked about this the Sphinx, this crazy fucking, like, you've seen it in a lot of the trailers, this giant lady face coming in.
The way she jiggles,
big knobs,
means that if censorship wasn't a thing, they absolutely would have added them. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm talking about.
Yep. And anyway, from there they just do like a round table and they just blah 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 blah. And that was day one. And then day two, you know what? We've got like 15 more minutes. Day two is not going to take that long. Day two was like updates to existing games.
Oh, okay.
So, which is why it doesn't take as long, because it's all about games that are already out. So first they started with Street Fighter 6. And they kind of talked about all the different characters, and then they showed off actually, Michael, I have a question for you. They showed off all the bullshit in the was it called like the Fight Arena or whatever?
Yeah, the
Battle Hub. And they showed off, so they're like, oh, here's Ninja Turtles, I knew about that. Like, here's Spy Family, oh, I knew about that. And then like, here's Chipotle. They're like a Chipotle
Yeah,
thing?
no, they did that once before, or something similar. But
did you pay for this burrito that this guy's wearing on his back? It's not even a backpack burrito. It's just a burrito.
I haven't touched the game in a while, so I can't tell you because I haven't seen this part of it.
Okay.
But I do remember that the last game had like these ad stuff that they would add to it. So I'm not surprised that Chipotle added some stuff to it.
It's just very weird. It's very weird.
No, it's super weird. But
yeah. So yeah, Mega Man. They're doing Mega Man next, where they're giving you a horrible. It reminds me of the Mega Man from what's its thing?
From the cover.
No, from Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
Oh yeah, but that version is based on the one from the cover of the game.
Yeah.
It's like as if he got fat.
Yeah,
but you could make that guy technically if you use this outfit, I assume.
Yeah. So yeah,
that was a weird thing to do during that time, because that was the years of the Mega Man drought, and that was like, we're gonna add Mega Man, and everyone was excited, and then they see him, and you're like, oh, what the fuck? Yeah.
Let's see. From there, Akuma is gonna be in the game.
This I did see.
They had the big trailer where he's punching a statue. It's got gray hair now, I guess.
Yeah, because this is the first game that's finally after Street Fighter 3. Because he already had grays, like he had like gray stripes in his hair, like in part 3. And so now he's just gone full gray.
Okay. Isn't he like a devil? Like a demon or something?
He's like a guy who just like, he let his soul be like super tainted by like he's essentially like a super Sith of the Hado, essentially.
Okay.
So like he's full on in the dark, the Satsui no Hado sort of thing. He's just a crazy person, basically.
He's a lot thicker than I remember.
Yeah, no, he's real thick in this one.
His arms are as wide as his hands. Like
he reminds me more of the way Gouken was in part 4, where he was like this big dude.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what caused them to make him look like that, but he just looks really cool.
Okay.
Like, I really like his design now that I've seen it like in animation. Because before we just saw it's like, you know, his
concept art.
His concept art.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, like, because I wasn't a fan of the way it looked in 5. Because 5 was this, but it wasn't gray yet. And what made it weird is that takes place before 3. So it's like, why would his hair be like that if it was short in part 3? Where this makes more sense because it's after that. So it's like, okay, sure.
Okay.
I think it just works better here, especially since he has a beard too, because he didn't have a beard in the last one.
Oh, okay. All right.
He looks like he's going to be great, though.
Yeah. I mean, out of all of the, let's see, the first round was, I guess Rashid was from 5, right?
Yeah.
And then Ed and Aki were new
Well, Ed was
Or was Ed?
Ed was in the was in 5 as well.
Was it also in 5? Okay.
Yeah.
So only Aki is the only new character.
Yeah,
they've had in
she's
there?
brand new. Like she wasn't in anything else before this point.
Do you think?
But she's connected to somebody from 5.
Do you think that they would? Do you think you'll pick the game back up when this comes out?
Probably, but it's more because I haven't touched the game in a long time.
Yeah.
And I probably should just see who's in it at this point.
Do you think you'll go back to do you think you'll go back to the story and like go through the
Or like find them
trainers?
and then
Yeah,
train
yeah,
them?
yeah, that whole
maybe.
thing.
Yeah, actually, maybe on that one because I never actually did finish World Tour mode.
No,
because I meant to, but stuff just kept coming out.
last year was a monster, man.
Yeah.
Every fucking week there was something.
Like I'd be like, I'm gonna finish this later, and then it's just like, here's this game, here's this game, here's
Yeah.
this game, and then I literally forgot I owned the game at one point because there were so many games that were coming out.
Yep. So,
Like I haven't touched Mortal Kombat 1 in ages,
oh,
and that wasn't even that long ago.
I tried to I loaded it up when like a new character comes out and play it for like 10 minutes and then I delete it.
Yeah, I was gonna do that with Peacemaker, and I just haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah. Let's see. From there, oh yeah, they talked about the Pro Tour and the Capcom Cup and the blah blah blah. It's all the Street Fighter leagues and they got some new teams. I don't care. This is all that esports stuff.
And then Exo Primal, everyone's favorite game.
Speaking of things I care deeply about, Exo Primal is getting a bunch of new bullshit. I
tried it, and I was like, this is not for me.
Again, it's one of those games where it's like, I think it's fine for what it is, but that's just not what I'm into.
Yeah,
like
100%.
If the idea where you're like, what if Left 4 Dead was robots versus dinosaurs instead of people versus zombies? If you go, ooh, then this game is probably for you.
It's not even that though. When you actually play it, it's like a versus thing against another team. I don't know. It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. Like honestly, if it was Left 4 Dead with dinosaurs, I would have had more fun with it instead of it being like, hey, you got to kill the dinosaurs of the other team. I'm
right.
Like, no, I just wanted to be Left 4 Dead.
So again, Mega Man. They're putting Mega Man in Exo Primal.
Sure, I guess.
So you can now, instead of being like a robot, you could just be like the Mega Man, except he looks really weird because he's holding guns and skating around. And they've got Airman, and then also apparently they're putting in like a boss fight with the big yellow guy from
Sure, I guess. From 2.
From 2, yeah. And it's like, okay, Capcom always really has been overestimating. Like they both they won't go all in, but they won't stop doing it either. Of just like, you know what you guys really want is Phoenix Wright in Street Fighter 6, and I'm like, no, I don't.
Well,
I'd like you to make original stuff for Street Fighter 6.
That's the one time I'd be cool with it. My issue is that they keep adding Mega Man to everything, but they don't make Mega Man games.
Right. I liked the last Mega Man game quite a bit.
Yeah,
10,
I liked it too.
I liked it.
11 was really good.
Whatever the 3D one was. So yeah, there's also getting some new variants for some suits. There's like a new suit that's called like a Grenadier. It looks really boring and dumb. Apparently, you're going to be able to go back and replay stuff. There's going to be like golden skins you can get. Apparently, you can make custom playlists where what they talked about, you could just do like just the end death match without all of the rolling up to it part.
Okay.
So just your least favorite part of Exoprimal.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. But it has to have enough of a dedicated fan base for them to still be doing this. So
or it's already made and it
good for them, I guess.
costs very little.
That's
It costs
true
like
too,
4
yeah.
developers to keep going. Yeah, it's really a weird game. Like it's kind of goofy, but like also not.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. They never got me. They never managed to get their hooks into me with this one. So
Same.
Yep. Monster Hunter 20th anniversary. They did a streaming program. I think this came out today, but I didn't look it up, of like the top 20 monsters in Monster Hunter. That's great. Also, Monster Hunter Now is getting a bunch of updates.
Hooray!
For
Question mark?
20th anniversary. Some new monsters to hunt in the Monster Hunter Now. It's their 6-month anniversary, and they're getting some guys and some stuff and.
They'll phone stuff.
It's weird that they like. It's like the 20th anniversary of Monster Hunter, right? And they don't have a game. They don't have an update. They didn't even show a trailer. in the game. Like they showed a trailer for Monster Hunter Now stuff, but they didn't show. They announced a new Monster Hunter game at the end of last year.
Yeah, and we still haven't seen anything else since then.
Like, show me a fucking trailer, you guys.
Like, I'm amazed that wasn't used here at any point.
Yeah, yeah. Because we're finishing up with Monster Hunter Stories.
This is the Switch release, right?
Actually, this first one. So this is the remaster of the first one, and they're adding in full voice tracks.
Oh yeah.
And this is coming out on the PC and the Switch and the PS4/5 simultaneously.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So
I forgot about that.
It's all three together. Did you played this? You played this one, right?
No, I know someone who did, and they had a lot of fun with it because it's an RPG.
Yeah,
which is why it's different from that, because you're riding the monster, and you use them almost like Pokemon almost.
Yeah, you get into like turn-based battles where you just like attack and kill that guy.
It was very popular. They made amiibos for it and everything.
Really?
Yeah, it's I think it was the only thing Monster Hunter amiibo related for a while until I think. What was that last one that came out?
Rise?
Yeah, Rise. And then they made them for those.
Yeah, certainly looks like a Monster Hunter Stories game. Like, I can't really... I mean, like, they've got a bunch of
People
voice
really
acting in it. What's crazy is that's coming out on June 14th, but the same day, they're also putting out...
Because we did one of these for RageSelect. Well, I think we did the sequel.
Yeah. They're putting that out on the PS4, PS5, and at on the same day. So they're also going to put out a 2-pack where you can buy both of them in one pack.
Oh, nice!
And they're both also on PC and Steam or Switch. So, but yeah, I mean, like it looks like if you're into that, like boy howdy, they're really doing a good job of like there were a lot of 3DS games that I feel like never got a re-release that could totally work. Like they didn't use the touchpad, or the touchpad was just like a menu screen or something like that.
Oh, 100%. So. Like one of the ones that we're getting from a re-release from Nintendo is one, which was the Luigi's Mansion 2.
Oh, right. Oh, and then we just had a Ghost Trick, right?
Yeah,
that was
Ghost
a
Trick,
DS game.
The Phoenix Wright games.
Yep, a lot of those. And I think it's really cool that Capcom is putting out some of these things because, it's not like the DS or the 3DS weren't popular systems, but
it's not that they weren't. It's just that all of that stuff is shut down now.
Yeah,
you can't just go back and like buy them again.
Yeah,
or if you do, you'd have to buy them off of eBay.
Yep. That's pretty much it. Yep.
Oh, that's good.
That was all.
Good for you, Capcom.
It was fine. It just wasn't like a lot. It was just like kind of whatevskis. I don't know. Did they put out their Monster Hunter?
Was there a day 3? Is what you're saying?
Yeah. Did they put out their day 3? Oh, wait. Welcome to Dragon's Dogma 2, presented by Ian McShane.
God, they've been asking some random people. Like that's the most random thing I've heard since the Brian Cox thing. We're talking.
Brian Cox explains Tekken to you.
I kind of want more of that though, just because I think it's funny.
Just getting like actual celebrities to come fucking say the words from a bunch of nerdo games.
I want Matthew McConaughey to pop up and just explain how Armored Core, the story of Armored Core, to somebody.
Who should tell the story of Metal Gear? Who should tell the recap of Metal Gear 1 through 5? Who would be Crispin Glover tells you Metal Gear 1 through 6?
He would make
it. Is that guy still alive?
He is, and I feel like he could do it, which is the worst part.
Yeah,
and he would make it make sense somehow.
Yeah,
because he's the only one insane enough to do it.
He would just hypnotize you, and then by the time you got done watching, you'd be like, "Oh shit, I know all this."
You would just know it. I don't know why, but you just would.
Yeah, so that was it. Not a lot.
And
Not a lot
Ryan
of, like,
Gosling to explain Death Stranding.
Specific things. I think the only thing that in here that really was, I mean, like the thing is, as I said, I'm all in on Dragon's Dogma 2. I'm super into that. And most of the update stuff was for games I don't care about. And then that Kunitsigami, again, I kind of went,
Yeah, sure, I guess. It's a game.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of the games of all time.
Yeah. You know what? With that, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. We've been about around 45 minutes, and we're going to talk about Mario Day next, and there's a lot to talk about for Mario Day.
Oh, okay.
So
I know about like one thing specifically.
Yeah. So yeah, stick around. We'll be right back with more in just a second. And we're back. It's Mario time.
It's a me.
It's a Mario time. Yeah, so it was March 10th. That's Mario Day.
Yes.
They had a quick little Mario Day. Not a direct, just some announcements. And the biggest part of it was basically, Michael, I know this is going to shock you to your very core, but they're going to make another Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah, no, that's I'm shocked by this, Jeff.
After the last one made $1 gajillion, it was like one of the biggest fucking movies of all of last year.
The twist is Chris Pratt is still in it.
Yeah. People were really mad at the beginning about like the voice from Mario. It wasn't Chris Pratt, but like when Mario came out and was just like, it's a me, Mario, and apparently they were just like, sounds like shit. I'm like, I'm really glad that I can't hear the voice actors like you guys can hear the voice actors, because I'm just like, sounds like Mario to me, man.
Yeah, I know it's a new guy, but I haven't heard his like full sentence Mario stuff, if that makes sense.
Yeah, just from Wonder.
Yeah,
just his barks from Wonder.
And there's some parts that I'm like, okay, that take could have been a little different, but he's still pretty good.
Yeah. So yeah, it's coming out next year, I believe, 2026.
Yeah. Well, that's 2 years. Because it's 2024.
Oh, right. 2 years from now.
Unless you know something I don't know,
Jeff. Dude, I'm not a time traveler. I'm not from the future.
Turns
or
out
the
2025
past.
doesn't exist.
Look, I have not looked into the Oracle. I have not seen the fires that are coming. Okay,
we just skipped 2025 entirely.
Look, I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything. Don't look at my bunker. Get out of my bunker. Okay. Anyway, that was mostly what this was. It was just like, yeah, we're doing another Mario thing, and we're looking to broaden the story of Mario even further. And it's like, okay, I guess, sure.
I wonder what that means, but we'll see.
Yep. And then, like, they really briefly after that just had some release dates for games that have already been announced. So, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door is going to be out May 23rd. And then Luigi's Mansion 2 is going to be June 27th.
Cool.
So.
I'm very excited for that.
And then they also put a bunch of Mario games on the Game Boy Mario games on the Switch Online. They put Dr. Mario, Mario Golf, Mario Tennis from the Game Boy Color all on the Switch Online.
Cool, I guess.
Thing, if you're into that sort of degeneracy, which I'm not, but like,
well, Dr. Mario is like, I love the song of the Dr. Mario, and it's a decent enough puzzle game. But if you really want to play Mario Golf or Tennis, you could do better than the Game Boy one.
You know what? I don't like Dr. Mario at all, but I'm the only one. So
I just like the song more than anything.
We got one of these. Jeff is a catty, contentious bitch podcast.
I do love his design too. Although Dr. Mario is that great thing that's caused the internet to be like, so Mario is both a plumber and a doctor
and a referee,
yeah,
and a golfer.
Yeah, but it's like one of those things. Like, I don't really trust Mario to be my doctor, to be honest.
Yeah.
All he does is shove pills in my mouth.
Yeah. Okay. So, but then we had one other thing that was kind of like it was a bit of a stealth thing. Michael, I'm not even sure if you know this because you have a job and a life and stuff, and don't just spend all your time.
Yeah, but I also look at Twitter a lot.
Look at video game news. They put out a demo for Princess Peach Showtime.
I did hear about this, actually.
Just like, seems like that would have been something to announce on Mario Day, because it was like Mario Day was like Saturday or something, and then the next Wednesday they put out, Mario Day was Sunday, and 3 days later on Wednesday they put out Super Princess Peach Showtime demo. I have not played it.
I haven't either.
Keep my powder dry. That thing's like 2 weeks away, so
that's fair.
Hopefully
it's good. I really hope that Peach gets another great game.
Yep, I do too.
Because it's been a while since she's had one.
There was a little bit of a weird thing though that happened with this. This is a very strange thing.
What's that?
So there was a big question of like, who developed Princess Peach Showtime?
Oh, I didn't even think about that until now.
Like, it never had a badge on it, like a developer badge or anything.
Still has it, as far as I know.
Yeah, and so they emailed Nintendo to ask them like, who made this game, and Nintendo was like, you'll have to look at the credits when the game comes out. Like, it's just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, why wouldn't you tell us now?
So
we locked a bunch of toads in a room, and they made. If you lock enough of them in a room, they can make video games.
Well, then of course the demo came out. Data miners got a hold of it, and they exactly found out. Like, it is below the fold here. It is a Good-Feel.
Okay.
Which is like a Nintendo internal subsidiary studio. They made Kirby's Epic Yarn and Yoshi's Crafted World, so they made both of those games.
Okay, so it's amazing that this isn't a yarn-based game again.
Well, it's also, I mean, it is kind of a weird, like, Yoshi's Crafted World, right, was a bunch of like crafted, like paper almost sets that you were going through.
Well, yeah, everything was very like they tend to make things very like real world looking, if
kind
that makes
meta,
sense.
strange and meta.
Yeah. So I think that's why, like, well, maybe that's why Princess Peach is like a play.
Yeah, it's like on a stage. Yeah, it's like everything is like a stage thing. It fits with what they're doing. Well, it's just weird because it's like, no, that's perfect. Those are the guys I would want to make a Princess Peach game. Like, why are you being cagey about this, Nintendo? Why are you being such a weirdo about this?
Nintendo still acts like it's the 80s where people would like poach their people.
Right.
And they're like, dude, you work for Nintendo. No one's going to leave you nowadays.
But like, no, this is such an internal company that like, you and I sit here and talk like every other week about fucking video games. And this is the first time in my life I've read Good Dash Feel Studios. Like, I don't know who the fuck that is.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known who they were without you telling me what else they made.
Yeah, so I don't know why they're being such weirdos about that shit, but they are. So speaking of leaks,
I heard
data
about this
mining,
one, and it's so funny.
Spider-Man 2 got a patch, and that patch accidentally unlocked developer mode, which people got into and found all kinds of stuff.
It was like the easiest fucking thing to get into.
Yeah.
Like imaginable.
I didn't read any part of that, but
because all you had to do was like, I think you hit like the center button and then start or something. Like literally just 2 buttons on your controller.
Oh.
Immediately activated debug mode.
So something like you could really easily accidentally do.
Yeah, people found it on accident.
Right.
Because it was just like a quick start thing. It was so funny. I was like, how did this happen?
Yeah. And apparently they found like some interesting things. They found a way to get Venom out into the world. Like you just do without hacking around the edges. You could just play as Venom. They apparently also found some, what was it, like Beetle related, like a boss fight that got cut or something like that.
It was all like information on stuff that was either like boss fights that could have been cut or characters that were probably going to be part of it. They were either cut or maybe part of a DLC.
Yeah.
The Beetle one seems to be the one that people were certain might have been like part of a DLC, because there were some mentions of like a shocker thing and an electro.
Oh,
and like fights that didn't happen in the game. Mm-hmm. So people were just like, maybe that part would have been in there somewhere, but it just never happened.
It's always fun. It's so funny. Only video games are like the only medium in the world where it's like, oh, we're not going to use this, but we're still leaving it in the product. Like, there's no way to secretly find a chapter in a book that you weren't supposed to read, or like see the outtakes in a movie if you like spin around in your house 3 times and then suddenly the people on screen are like, bah.
Well, the issue or the main difference between that is if you can't, like in a movie, if the editor decides to be like, well, I don't think the scene works for this part, and they take it out, the movie doesn't like explode in random places.
Right, that's
Whereas
true.
the game is like, okay, we took out like this one part of the game that we're not going to use anymore, but now Spider-Man is now a small child,
right,
kind of thing, and we don't know why that's happening. Like, so that's the funniest thing about that sort of thing, and I'll never understand how that keeps, or not never understand. I will never understand how the weird shit like this specific thing will happen.
Yeah,
but there has been like other stuff that's been released since this has happened.
Oh yeah, no, that's what we got next.
That's interesting.
Yep.
Yeah,
we got a big leak of Spider-Man: The Great Web. We got like a full-on, almost done trailer.
There are 2 trailers for it.
Yeah, I couldn't find the other one.
I found it on Reddit. That's the second trailer, but it's very much similar to this.
Yeah,
I think it only has like 1 or 2 things that are different. Like it has a different voiceover that makes it like that sounds like that actually adds like a darker element to it. Because like in this one, they're like, hey, we're gonna all like work together and stuff.
Yeah.
In the second concept trailer, Spider-Man's like, yeah, me and a bunch of guys try to save the multiverse, but we fucking failed, and like it makes it sound like he died.
Yeah.
Because at one point he's like, this used to be your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I'm like, what does that mean? What does that mean? They're like, Spider-Man's great, but they got him.
Yeah. This is basically the co-op Spider-Man game that we heard about.
Yes.
It's got Spider-Man, Spider-Gwen, Miles. It's got Spider-Man 2099 is in there.
It's got Scarlet Spider.
Yeah.
Symbiote Spider-Man.
Yep. A whole bunch of different Spider-Mans. I don't know. Do you? I was curious. What are your thoughts on this? Like, do you wish this would have been a thing? Would you have played an online live service multiplayer Spider-Man game?
I would have, and more because I like Spider-Man enough, and unlike Gotham Knights, Spider-Man is in it. It's not like you're playing it and they're like, and then Spider-Man died and then you never got to use Spider-Man the entire time.
Right.
Like, it's like, no, like Spider-Man is clearly in this trailer and he's one of the guys you're using.
Well, hell, even if Spider-Man died, like, you know, we've got the Spider-Verse now. It's like, I'm sure that you would have been fine if it was like Peter Parker is dead and now Miles Morales and Spider-Man 2099, Miguel and Spider-Gwen.
If it had come out, I would not have been Peter Parker.
Right.
I would have been 2099.
Right. So
the entire time. And so, like, and I remember when all the leaks came out for what they were going to do with it.
Yeah.
They had, like, because this isn't the first time we had leaks, but the leaks that we had originally were all concept art.
Right.
And, like, explanations of how it was going to work.
Yeah.
Like they were going to have different things, like 2091 was going to be a brawler, that sort of thing. And so this is like, but I never realized it got far enough for them to make a concept trailer.
Yeah.
And when you watch this trailer, it's obvious that everything in here is using already made assets.
Right.
Like Miles has the backpack from the bodega thing.
Yeah.
Spider-Gwen is like a mishmash of 3 different character models.
Right.
To make one, like, because it's obvious, cause especially when they show their concept art for her, like she doesn't have the vest on in the concept art. And she has like the body type of like the black hat model.
Sure.
She's got the Spider-Punk vest.
Well, because they had like the Spider-Man 2099 costume was like in the game,
yeah,
right?
all
it's
of those costumes are just the ones that are in the game already. Like that Scarlet Spider one, the 2099 one. And even the little portals that they use for like the part where they show stuff is from
that one. There's a side quest, right?
Quest.
Yeah.
And all the panels they show are from other things.
Right.
Like that one panel with the Sinister Six that they say is like that's from Spider-Man number 900 that came out not that long ago.
Oh, okay.
And so it's because that's why I recognized it immediately. I'm like, this is just a concept trailer because people were treating it like, oh, this game could come out tomorrow. I'm like, no, this is them being like, if we could make this work, this is what it could look like.
Yeah.
And honestly, like if it looked like this, I would probably have a good time with it.
Sure.
The problem is I don't think they would have been able to pull it off in a way that would have been, 1, satisfying, and 2, long term. Well, also in a way that would have worked, if that makes sense.
I mean, from the leaks, from the hack stuff that we found before, like or maybe it was part of the lawsuit stuff. You know, we found out that like this game had such a huge budget. It had a huge budget that it barely made any money back. Like it wasn't like, you know, it sold really well, but it was also just like incredibly expensive to make. So the idea of this is a whole other game, this whole other chunk of video game right here. Like this isn't just like,
and it's obvious they put money into it.
Yeah. Like,
because this is like, you don't make a concept trailer for something that you're not going to put money into.
Yeah. Like
that's why I was surprised. I like when the mock-up stuff came out, those are fine because they're like, this is clearly somebody who's like, well, maybe we could do something like this. Never thought they made an entire concept with people like having multiple Spider-Man on the screen.
Yeah. Would it work? That's my question.
That's the thing. Like, it looks great here, but the problem is this is a concept trailer.
Yeah.
There's like that. To me, this wouldn't have worked. Like, it would have been the way Gotham Knights was, where like, I don't think it works the way people want it to.
Right.
Because the way people want it to work only works in a single player concept.
Sure.
At least in my opinion.
You've just got, there's so much going on that you're like focused on one thing and you're not really communicating or speaking, you know, talking to each other or stuff like that.
Yeah, because even the stuff they said that they were going to end up doing anyways, like, doesn't really feel like what was going on in this trailer. Like, this trailer feels more like just a series of fights that they just are showing that you can use multiple Spider-Man in. Yeah. And so there's a lot of people online that are like, yes, I absolutely would play this, and I'm not gonna lie, I would play it, but I have a feeling that it would have the same issue the Avengers did, which is that, you know, they can only do so much to make it last as long as it can without alienating somebody. Yeah.
The one thing that I was actually really interested, that I was actually really happy though, right, is that I feel like Spider-Man is one of the few properties at this point with the Spider-Verse movies where, like, since they were almost like the first kid on the block to do multiverse, like, it makes more sense in Spider-Man than anywhere else.
Yes.
Like the idea that, like, oh, here's all the Spider-Men coming through the Great Web, and you're like, oh, it's like the Leonardo DiCaprio thing pointing at the TV. Yeah. You're like, oh, no, I know that. I know what you're talking about.
And Shattered Dimension shows that people like that idea. Yeah. Like having multiple Spider-Man in a storyline. So, yeah, it's not unheard of, but the problem is that, like, somebody lost faith in that idea at some point, and I think it came down to the fact that
they ran over budget.
Yeah, I think they were either running over budget, or they were like, "We're spending too much time on this. We need to get Spider-Man 2 out."
Right.
And somebody finally was like, "Okay, let's
cut it off here. Finish what you got done.
Get whoever's working on there into this fucking room so we can finish this fucking game."
Yeah,
kind of thing. And I feel like because I've read another. I don't know if you have this stuff because this has been popping up on Twitter a lot. Like apparently, some developer or something of the game has been releasing unfinished footage of things that wasn't used in the game.
Oh no!
Like a lot of destructive environments. There was one. It's a super unfinished one of Spider-Man fighting Venom and him like being thrown through walls and stuff, like in the middle of the city. Like it's clear that the third act suffered immensely because of something. And one of the guys said that one of the developers got into like a shouting match with the producer because the producer was like, "You're doing too much. Like you can't fucking do this stuff."
Yeah,
kind of thing. And so they had to cut a bunch of stuff. And I think part of it was that they didn't have this. These people were probably too busy making this other thing,
right?
Not realizing, hey, we should probably have everyone all hands on deck still.
That's interesting. It's funny because I know that a lot of people had like I saw. On Reddit when the Game Awards were happening and people were like, which one of these nominees doesn't belong in this list? And there's a lot of people that really didn't like Spider-Man 2 because they felt like it was just more of the same. And also a lot of people felt it was too short. And I was like, I was fine with that because the side missions to me felt like they were more bespoke. And I was okay that there weren't like a billion of them because it meant that I could beat Spider-Man in like 3 days. Yeah. And it was fun. And I never got tired of it. I always wanted more. I wasn't like, okay, fucking let's just get through this. Like, can we just get to the end already?
The problem with Spider-Man 2 is just isn't even that it's too short. The problem is that the second half is too fast.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's how I felt about the last game, too. The last game, the second certain things happen, it just sort of plows through it. Especially with the Venom stuff, it plowed through it way too fast.
I liked it a lot. But I like that. I don't want them to take their time. I'm like, let's go.
It wasn't like taking their time. It's just like we fought Venom once, like the entire fucking game.
Sure.
Like we at least saw him meet Doc Ock more than once. Yeah. So I don't know. That's my only issue with it. But I get it.
Let's see another PlayStation news. This is really interesting. Apparently, there's a company out there that might be on the verge of basically making like a PS2 emulator for Sony.
I heard about this. Yeah,
it's really crazy. It's this company called Implicit Conversions that is like they for a brief moment on their website had like, yes, we make emulators for PS1, PS2, PSP, PS Vita, blah blah blah. And then they were like, somebody wrote them an email and they were like, did you say that you do PS2 emulators? And like, you guys are the guys that are putting all of the PS1 classics and the PSP stuff on the PlayStation Network? And did you say that you have a working PS2 emulator? And they were like, we cannot comment or confirm or deny.
Who's PlayStation? I've never heard of them.
But they have this thing called the Syrup engine that apparently like is trying to, it's like, it seems like instead of trying to emulate the low-level PS2 hardware, they're trying to emulate high-level PS2 functions, where then the ROM, like, instead of trying to run on virtual hardware, it's like whatever call it's making gets processed by, like, a different logic set and then sent back as a way to basically, like, get around this compatibility issue of trying to emulate a cell processor in a PS5.
Yeah.
Like, you're trying to emulate, like, what a cell processor would give back to the game when you sent it requests. And this is really fascinating to me, and the fact that they did come out and say like we cannot comment on that means yes.
No, like it not only does it mean yes, it means that fucking Jim Ryan or the fuck that dude's name was.
Yeah.
The second the hit guy left, they're like PS2 stuff.
Yes,
because that dude's been holding them back for a long time.
Yep.
Like he really didn't really understand the idea of people would want to play older games again, and I don't know why he wouldn't understand that.
I think that Sony is sitting on a fucking gold mine if they
100%.
can put those PS2 games on their PlayStation Plus. There's so many games from that generation that are just unavailable. I've said it before. I've said it again. If they could just get it to a point where they run at 1080p, I mean, it'd be nice if they could get it running at 4K, but if they could just get running at 1080p and like put that stuff on their subscription service, well, fuck, you got a stew going there, baby.
That's the thing. Like the amount they charge for it doesn't make sense the way it is now.
Yeah.
But if they had some of the greatest fucking games that's ever existed on that thing, people would be like, "Yeah, I'll give you $200 a month. I don't fucking care."
Right.
Like it wouldn't take anything for them to get that much money.
And then there's a question of like, well, does this mean that we can all, if they put this on the PlayStation 5, is it going to mean that we can take our PS2 games and put them in the PS5? And I'm like, almost certainly not.
No, that's not how that works.
Almost certainly no.
Unfortunately, that's not how that works.
Sony is not that cool at all. They want to sell you those games a second time.
Also, hardware doesn't really work that way either.
Well, there's also that. I mean, that thing's just like a VCD, right? Like it's not even a DVD. DVDs were PS3. No, PS3 is Blu-ray.
PS3
Those are DVDs. They were DVDs. They were DVDs. Such as DVDs. My PS5 could read a DVD. Like,
well, unless they're the blue discs, I don't remember how those worked.
It could at least authenticate properly and then like download a copy. But then of course, even if they get it running, it's not like they're going to put the entire PS2 library on the PS5 in one day.
No,
they're going to trickle that shit out for years.
Well, not only that, they could run into the same issues that the 360 did for backwards compatibility.
Yeah,
because you have to ask certain companies.
Oh, you have to get like they have to get the rights and stuff.
Or not even just the rights, just permissions in general.
Right.
Because that's why the Xbox 360 isn't like fully Xbox compatible.
Yep.
Because they only had so many people be like, yeah, well, okay, cool, go for it, kind of thing. So yeah.
So yeah, but that's really exciting. That's really exciting, and I hope it happens soon. Let's see. Speaking of development, there was an interview that was going around that was talking about how, last week they officially announced that Persona 3 episode Aegis is going to be DLC in the game. And then also it's going to come after two bullshit DLCs. One is a set of soundtracks from Persona 4 and Persona 5, and the second one is a series of costumes and soundtracks based on the Velvet Room from Persona. And people are like, and then in like September, you finally get this episode Aegis.
That's so weird.
Not only that, but you have to buy the entire expansion pass for $35 to get it. Like, you can't just buy it a la carte. You have to buy the whole thing.
Jesus.
So they actually talked about why this wasn't included in the beginning. And they basically like just didn't have the development power to do it. Like, they kind of had it on the back burner, and then like the first time they showed off Persona 3, the developer ran into there was such a huge fan reaction to Persona 3 where people wanted the episode Aegis that like he went back and was like, okay, well, how the fuck can we make this happen? And apparently like he was done with like the directing on the game and was like, well, maybe I can come back and I can do the directing on the expansion. And apparently the guy that made Soul Hackers 2 and like one of the other spin-off Persona things, like Shin Megami Tensei things, was like, I'll do it. Like, he wasn't even on the team. He was just
hanging out
just at that company, and they were like, if you want to, he's like, hey, sure, I'll do it. So they started development on it when like the main game was like 70-80% complete.
That's crazy.
And then they just started like crunching through it. So like the reason it's not going to be available until September was it literally like started development when the game was almost done,
and by like two guys.
by like a very small team, a spin-off team. I personally think
crazy.
I personally think that they should have just delayed the entire fucking thing and just put out the definitive edition instead of Nickel and Diamond and Persona 3 and here's the DLC and now we got to put out a full Game of the Year edition or whatever.
People are just very strange when it comes, or developers are very strange when it comes to delaying things.
Yeah.
And part of it comes down to contractual obligations with their publisher.
Yeah.
And I feel like that might be what was holding them back, because it happens all the time.
Yeah.
Like some games that were infamous for never coming out only came out because of that specific reason.
He also directed Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE. Soul Hackers 2 and Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE. So like,
that's crazy.
It's fucking weird. Yeah, it's very strange, and it's sad that we couldn't just like, because the problem is that they really don't want to keep making stuff for this. So the last hurdle is the lady protagonist, and they're probably never going to do that because they want to be like done with this. They want the book closed, not just keep working on it because the fans are so into it. They would just want to be like, we are done and there is no more. So
that's honestly, I think that's more their fault, not understanding that people, if you remake something that people love, that you should remake the version that has everything in it,
right?
And not understanding that not doing that by default was a dumb idea.
100% agree. Let's see. Final Fantasy 16 PC port is in the final stages of development.
Oh, damn. Naoki
Yoshida says. Yeah, came out last year. It's still getting there. It was announced like in September or something like that. But they're still kind of getting it together. One of the things that they talked about, though, is that apparently it's going to have some really kind of high system requirements.
I'm not surprised by that because the PS5 could barely handle some stuff that happens.
But then the other problem is that it's like, okay, if you're putting on the PC, like we're coming into a thing where you know what speed the hard drive of every hard drive in the PS5 is and how you can use that to like load stuff, like side load content. But for the PC, like, is it going to be, there's been a couple games that have come out where it's like, if you try to run them on like a non SSD at the very bare minimum, they're like, no, you're running this off of a platter hard drive, spit a disc around. What kind of bullshit is that? Like,
well, that was one of the reasons they said that, like, because I remember when they first announced Final Fantasy 16, they'd accidentally put, hey, by the way, this is a PC game in the very first trailer they did.
Yeah.
And so people were like, oh, that just means it'll release like right after the exclusivity is done.
Right.
Which, if I remember correctly, was like the end of the year.
Yeah.
Or something like that. They're like, no, that's not what that means. Also, when did I ever say it would come out on the PC? And everyone's like, it's right here on the very first trailer you released. Like on the bottom, it says it right here.
Square Enix also is, they will take their fucking time.
Yes.
They do not give two shits about what you want.
100%.
So.
And it's not like the first time that's happened. That happened with one of the other, with Final Fantasy 7, if I remember, the 7 remake.
Sure.
Because it wasn't released on like everything else for like a bit after they came out for PS4.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's very true.
So, yeah.
Let's see. Good news for the workers over at Activision. Now they've been purchased by Microsoft, who is not actively trying to keep them from unionizing. Apparently, the entire QA staff of Activision has unionized into the largest video game union to date, with 600 QA workers all in one like labor union.
Good for them.
And because Microsoft basically pledged to keep their hands off and let them do whatever they wanted to, they were able to complete the whole process and get their shit together. So, which again, we're kind of out of this story. We're kind of past the like unions are starting up in a variety of different places storyline that was going on a lot of last year and the year before. But like, if there is one group of people involved with making video games that I feel like need someone to with some muscle to negotiate on their behalf, it is QA.
Yes.
Like, they are treated like absolute dog shit, and it's stupid. And if companies did not want this to happen, they would have stopped treating them like dog shit. But they keep going like, no, don't unionize. They're like, are you going to treat us better? They're like, no, but don't unionize.
What if I buy you a pizza?
Right.
But just one. We don't have the budget for anything else.
Just this one really good Hawaiian pizza.
Yeah.
Just the best Hawaiian pizza in the world. Yeah.
And we bought it from the 7-Eleven down the street.
I was telling oh no! I told you about the Chinese restaurant that I found that
you did,
hasn't updated their prices yet. And I'm just like, what? $10 for Chinese food? Holy shit! Give it to me. It's not very good, but I don't care for $10.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, yeah. So yeah, good on you. I'm really hoping there's going to be some weird downstream shit that happens because like, QA has to get done to release a game. There's going to be some company that wants to play hardball with their QA department. The QA department's going to be a union. That union's going to go on strike. Then that strike is going to keep the game from coming out, at which point I feel like everybody online who's like, hooray, you go get yours, girl, fucking unionize, woo, they're going to be like, yeah, fuck those guys, fuck that union. I want to play Final Fantasy 7 remittance tomorrow, and like they can't put it out until the fucking QA union stops striking, and they're not going to stop striking until they get like 20% pay raises because Chinese food is too expensive. Like,
yeah, exactly. That's the thing about unions that a lot of people tend to they're all for it until it stops, or anything in general actually.
Yeah,
they're all for the better things until it delays their precious games.
Yes. Yep. Remember, there's always a lot of video games in the world to play. Trust me, as somebody who's been playing every video game that comes out for years, every week there's something weird and cool and new to play. Don't get hung up on getting all hung up on one game.
There's also a lot of games that are like a bajillion hours long that will last you forever.
Hitman Freelancer mode doesn't ever stop, baby.
Yeah.
Let's see. Here's another interesting good news story.
I heard about this.
Bad news for somebody, but good news, I think, for the video game industry. So the CEO of Starbreeze is stepping down. Now, if you're wondering why that might sound somewhat familiar, Starbreeze is the publisher for... No, the developer? No, the publisher. No, I don't remember. For Payday 3. So... Payday 3 has been an unmitigated fucking disaster.
Oh, from like what, -1?
Yes.
Like it's been bad all the way through, which is crazy because people love to Payday 2.
The last time that this article that I'm reading here checked, oh yeah, I know, it's published by Deep Silver. So Starbreeze was the developer. So it's the CEO of the developer. Last time it was checked, there were 400 concurrent players for Payday 3.
Oh, that's bad.
Online. And 20,000 for Payday 2.
Jesus Christ.
So, I feel like we're finally getting to a point where, like, companies have gotten so slipshod with they're just like, just get it out the door, we'll fix it later. And gamers are like, dude, Jeff just told me there's a lot of video games to play. I can play Payday 2 like with my friends.
Yeah, I can either play Payday 2, which is completely amazing.
Yep.
Works completely great and has all this content. Or play your broken fucking game.
Yep.
That doesn't work on like anything right now.
Yep.
And if I wasn't playing that, and if I wanted a brand new fucking live servicey type game, Helldivers 2 is doing great.
It's right there, fun as shit. Shoot guys, help your buddies.
There's so much going on that God, Payday is just fucked up bad.
But it's got to be really bad because all of the the press releases are that like his name is Tobias Sjorgren.
Okay.
All the press releases are like, yes, he has been removed as CEO.
We threw his ass out.
Like there's none of this, like, he's decided to explore other opportunities. He wants to spend more time with his kids. It's just like, no, we took that motherfucker and we were like, get the fuck out.
We shot him in the face.
You get out. You get out of here.
His body's behind the dumpster. Fuck that guy. He fucked up everything.
The new guy is Jürgen Goldner. He has been in the industry for quite some time. He was with oh god, what was it? Like this publisher.
So 40 years experience.
Focus Home Interactive, which I think is mainly like a publisher that has published a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
like,
that's a fairly familiar one.
Yeah, so he has a lot of experience, and hopefully.
Well, Jeff, why would they play Payday 3 when Rockay City is right there?
I'd rather play Rockay City than Payday 3. At least Rockay City is so shitty that it's fun. Like,
that's true. That's the thing. It's bad in fun ways.
You got weird fucking. We got what's
causing
his face?
people to be nude on accident.
You got Chuck Norris doing his lines over the phone.
Yeah.
Like he's just fucking woke up. He's like, "What do you want me to say? Whatever."
Just the funniest.
You stop stop right there, Michael Madsen. I'm coming after you.
I told you I'd stop you or whatever.
You and Vanilla Ice have eluded me for the last time. I'm gonna team up with my good buddy Danny Glover.
It's so funny.
And come after you.
It's so fucking funny. I can't believe that game exists.
I can't believe it exists either. I can't believe it hasn't. I don't have it. It's been canceled and the servers are shut down.
Yeah, there's no news story. I like that. It's still going. I don't know how strong it's going, but it's going.
Let's see. This is really funny. The guy, the Concerned Ape or whatever, the guy that makes Stardew Valley, is gone mad with power. He is releasing. So the 1.6 update for Stardew Valley is supposed to be coming out within the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
He is on Twitter announcing the patch notes one line at a time every day. He says he's just like, what does he say? He's just adding like one non-spoiler like patch note each day.
Every day.
Yes.
That's amazing.
On Twitter. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Quote, I'll post a random non-spoilery patch note line each day until the 19th. And so he literally has just taken like pictures of like the patch notes and then just like put them on his Twitter account. Like today's, as we're recording this, is reduce the amount of time you need to push against a pet before they start shaking and let you pass through from 1.5 to 0.75 seconds. But the first one, Michael, was actually a huge thing for the Stardew Valley community, because apparently there was a bug where if you're harvesting in a row from left to right, it's faster than if you harvest in a row from right to left. And this was something, but it's like, it's subtle. It's like 0.5 seconds better.
Huh.
And the community has been arguing about whether this was actually a thing or not for a long time.
Oh, and this like proves that it was a thing.
And the fact that it's being fixed means, yes, it was a thing. So
that's amazing.
Fucking Stardew Valley people, man. Anyway.
That's if any like hardcore fandom of anything knows the weirdest shit about their games.
But he's not the only one making crazy updates, because the CEO of New Blood, who made Before Dusk, they're putting out a big SDK. And where's the actual quote?
It's just above that picture right there, or a little bit further down.
Here. Oh yeah,
right there.
No.
Before that, right there.
Here.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the exact quote, because I also heard about this.
Yes. Here's the quote. If there's not anime big titty waifus in Dusk by the time we're done with the SDK, then we haven't done it right. I actually didn't know this, but did you know that the Dusk SDK can play Doom levels and Half-Life levels, as well as like one other common level set?
That's amazing.
Like, they made this SDK so that you could just dump stuff directly into it, and there's actually like a video online that you can see of somebody just dumped the first level of Half-Life into Dusk and replaced the scientist with like bad guys, and they're just playing it. It's like, I've never seen Half-Life be this fast before.
Yeah.
It was like playing Half-Life at the speed of fucking Quake.
They're just blowing up scientists.
But yeah, so they're doing their best, which is what a great thing. Like,
no, I really love when the people who make the games are just as excited about what gamers can do to their games as they are.
Yeah. So they're putting that out. They're getting the SDK ready to go. It's great. Let's see. Bad news in the developer front. Deviation Games is being shut down by PlayStation. Now, I know what you're saying to yourself, listener. Who the fuck is Deviation Games? Well, here's the saddest part. They've never made a game.
They never got a chance to.
They were put on, they were created basically by Sony, or bought by Sony or whatever.
Well, they were created by two Call of Duty developers or something like that.
Yes. Then they were purchased by Sony, and they had like all this announcement stuff. They're like, "Oh man, this is so great. We're like under Sony's umbrella, so we don't have to worry about like the financial hardship of trying to make a game and get it out the door." Blah 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 blah. And that was like 6 months ago.
It wasn't even that long ago. And then the second they're like, okay, what are we going to make?
2021. Sorry, it was
still though. That's not a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like in the grand scheme of things. And they're just like, well, what are we going to make? And then somebody in Sony just knocking on the door, and they're like, yeah, just get your shit. We're not doing anything.
Well, probably what happened. I mean, like I mean, I don't know how true this is, but the impression that I get. I'm like my dowsing rod of gaming news, where I'm like, I'm doing this holistically. I'm reading the tea leaves. I think that, you know what, Sony said they had like 13 live service games that they were trying to make, and then they looked at the world as of Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League and went like, oh no, we're about to lose like $1 billion over the next 5 years on this shit.
Actually, that was the other,
shut this shit down.
That was the other theory I had. I completely forgot about the Spider-Man thing.
Oh yeah,
I think that was also probably part of the idea of doing a live service game.
Yeah,
and they just were like, this isn't going to work, and just canceled the whole thing.
It would work better with X-Men anyway. If you had a bunch of people with different powers as opposed to what, like, you know.
Man, an X-Men live service game like that would sell gangbusters.
If they did it good, if they did it well, yeah.
Yeah,
like,
it would do. Yeah, if you made it really well, and if you you set it to where you could still have some of the powers that like actual X-Men have, people would buy the shit out of it.
Wait, no, Michael, no. Everybody uses a machine gun, but then you have a meter that builds up and you can do one power for a super attack. That's what happens. Okay,
well, you get to use a Wolverine with an AK-47 at all times. He can only use his knife as a melee, and it takes forever. And his healing factor is a super.
It's either that or you're going to be grinding end game content versus the Brood to get the legendary claws that give you plus 14% to slashing bleed damage.
And you get to be rogue, but you never punches anything. And if you're Gambit, you never use your staff once.
Oh boy! All right, we got 5 minutes. Let's go through this real quick. Warner Brothers is a piece of shit. They're removing a shitload of Adult Swim games.
So many games.
Now, I looked at this list, and these aren't like the greatest games of all time, but it sucks
There's
that
some solid games in there, though.
There are some good ones. Kingsray is good. Rise and Shine is good. I can't believe Glittermitten Grove is on that list because that's Frog Fractions 2.
Yeah.
It's Glittermitten Grove. Headlander is great.
I really like the Samurai Jack game. Yeah, that's also on the list.
So yeah, they it really blows that they're doing this.
Well, what's frustrating is a bunch of the developers, a lot of them apparently still own the IP rights for some of these, and they just won't give them the Steam
page. They have to relist it.
And they're going to have to relist it because they're like, we don't have the manpower to do that for you guys.
What's so petty that I didn't know about this until I read the story was apparently it takes 3 clicks to it
doesn't take a lot
to move a game to a different entity, right? You're just like, I want to transfer the rights to this page to this person. If you have a developer account, it is very easy to do. And one developer that asked Warner Brothers, the response they got was like, well, if we did it for you, we'd have to do it for everyone, and we don't have enough manpower to do that, even though it's like 40 games.
Yeah,
you can do that in an afternoon, man. You get an intern to do that.
Probably wouldn't even be an afternoon. You might do it in an hour if it's that many. If it's only 3 clicks,
I could do that pretty quickly if you just gave me the login.
Give me $100 for an hour, and I can do the whole thing.
Yeah. So
what's wrong with you?
A lot of these games are going to just be relisted. I know that small radios, big televisions. That guy was just like, I just put it on my website. You can download it for free. I don't give a shit. Like I don't want it to just go away.
Yeah. The problem with relisting it though is they lose a lot of the people who put it on their wish lists and stuff.
Yep.
They have to do it all over again.
Very true.
Which is just a massive pain in the ass.
Very true. Let's see. Good news of Steam. EA added a whole bunch of games back to Steam. Old games.
Fun.
Command and Conquer didn't used to be on Steam.
There was a lot of them added.
The Saboteur got delisted from Steam. They basically added back.
People still play the Saboteur?
Command and Conquer: The Ultimate Edition, SimCity 3000, Populous 1, 2 in the beginning, Dungeon Keeper Gold, Dungeon Keeper 2, Alpha Centauri, and the Saboteur. And they put them all on sale, which was nice. What's interesting is that I think this is I looked for a long time. I really like Command and Conquer Generals. And I think the only way to play it is in this Command & Conquer collection. You can't even buy it a la carte. You have to buy this entire fucking collection to get it.
It comes with quite a few of them, too.
Yeah.
One indie developer was salty because they're like, this game that I've been trying to get sold for forever, it's finally coming out. And the day it comes out, all of Command & Conquer comes out.
Right.
And it's like, fuck.
Good news potentially good news for Helldivers 2 players. Apparently, Casper Van Dien is up for doing whatever when it comes to somebody tweeted that he should be him and Neil Patrick Harris should be in Helldivers 2, and Casper Van Dien replied with just the picture of Johnny Rico that says "Desire to know more intensifies." And I don't think that Casper Van Dien is really doing a lot right now.
He's not.
You could probably get him to come in for I don't know, $20,000 in a sandwich.
Have you heard the story about the Starship Troopers game?
No.
So apparently he contacted the developers of that game being like, hey, I'll do stuff for it. And they didn't think he was real.
Oh, for the one that we played.
Yeah.
We never did a video
he
for.
He's like, I'll do VO for it. And they're like, is this really Casper Van Dien?
Yeah, man.
We don't know if we should say yes or not. We don't know if you're real. Because he loves the shit out of this role.
Yeah.
It's followed his life for years. He was talking like my favorite story is he was talking about his like daughter going to school, and then them like seeing her dad for the first time, and one of them goes, "Your dad is fucking Rico,
Johnny Rico
from fucking Starship Troopers." She's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" and then she realized what it was, and like some of the people like tend to fuck with her and be like, "We've seen your dad's ass." It was just really funny to me, and he just finds it really funny because he's like, these kids are like young and they're still like, why, like they still know who I am.
That would be so fun though, to have him doing like briefings or like some voice lines or something.
He's also made some tweets saying that he's like, hell, let's just make a movie of this thing. I'll be in it. and one of the developers like apparently replied to it, be like, "You'd be great as General Brash. We would love that."
Awesome.
Like
awesome.
They should absolutely get Casper Vendia to do something.
This is what I like about video game industry. They're just fucking having fun. They're having some fun with some guys. Like, you know, it doesn't have to be fucking like horror stories every week. You just have some fucking fun with Johnny Rico.
They're just as excited as everybody else is, and I'm happy for them.
Speaking of being real excited about celebrities, Summer Games Fest is going to be back in June.
Oh, cool.
Just like we knew it was going to be back this year, but we got confirmation it's going to be out on June 7th. It's going to be June 7th.
E3 is dead, so all we have now is Summer Game Fest.
Yeah. Well, last year, I think last year there was like had a bunch of stuff last year.
It was
they had Star Wars Outlaws.
Yeah, that was announced there. Yeah, that was the end of the Summer Game Fest. Was that?
Yeah,
if I remember correctly. But I think that was also was that the Summer Game Fest last year where the other guy came up on the stage. If I remember correctly.
What do you?
Because there was the Game Awards the year prior where that happened, where the Bill Clinton kid came.
Bill Clinton kid.
But then another guy walked up. I want to say during the Summer Game Fest, and like it was some random guy. It wasn't even that same guy.
And
he said something, but I don't remember what it is anymore. But I remember, I remember people being like, Jeff Keighley's clearly like super pissed off when you look at him on that part.
Well, no, I know that at the Game Awards, right? Somebody tried to come up, and then like they got like fucking bashed off, and because he was just like,
and
I know it was at the Game Awards
one. And the most
last
recent one,
yeah.
No, but I mean, like before that, there was another guy that did get on stage in the middle of Summer Game Fest, if I remember correctly.
Did they?
Because there were two guys who got up. One was at Game Awards, and the other one was either at this or something else he did that year.
Okay.
I remember it vividly because people were like this. People were worried that he would stop doing these things with a crowd if this keeps happening.
Okay.
So,
and then last but not least, before we take a break, Mike, I thought you'd appreciate. Apparently, people are hacking giant ass hats and cubes and shit into Tekken 8, where they've just they've hacked the size slider to make it go bigger, so they can basically put on a hat and then make it so big that you can't see the other person.
That's amazing.
So they could just fucking go in and attack you. There was another one that I saw that was with just a cube, like it was like somebody where was it?
I love the title for that Reddit post. Nothing could have possibly prepared me for my opponent. It's just a giant fucking hat with wings.
Yeah. This person tweeted directly at Harada, basically with the person's username and everything, because they're just a giant fucking silver cube.
Oh my god.
That takes up most of the screen, and you just can't see what the fuck they're doing, and so then they just fucking go crazy and beat ass on the other person. So
yeah, there's no way to see what's happening.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yep. Anyway, and with that, we're going to go and take a break. And when we come back, we got some trailers. We got a few more announcements, but we might end up wrapping up early because I don't know if we got another 45 minutes worth of stuff to talk about.
We'll see how it happens. We always go on a rant, so it's be fine.
That's true. I got to talk about how much I love pineapple pizza.
Yeah, you keep bringing up. Are you hungry? Is that what's happening here?
I'm always hungry. I'm always hungry, Cap. And we're back. And we got one more set of stuff to go through, Michael.
Yep.
We got some trailers. Weird trailers this week. Weird trailers this week. But we're gonna start with Multiversus. Last week we got them teasing that they were coming back.
Yeah.
And this week we got a full-on kind of developer interview trailer where they talked about what they were doing. Big headline: Multiversus coming back May 28th.
They have a date.
Yep, they have a date. They have migrated to Unreal 5.
Really?
Which I'm like, okay, sure, I guess.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, they built it all back up from the ground up.
They were like, they showed like a side by side at one point. I'm like, guys, I cannot tell the difference between Unreal Engine 4 video game looking characters and Unreal Engine 5 video game looking characters.
Yeah, they weren't like. It's not like they were realistic to begin with.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Yeah, so they're bringing it back. They're changing up some of the moves to give people some more kind of like dynamic moves. They did mention they are going to be adding in like basically single player content, which I'm like,
that's good,
because that was what was keeping me from playing the game. I didn't want to play Smash Brothers with people online. You guys are fucking crazy.
It was early access as hell though on that last one. Yeah,
yeah.
And there was like 3 levels.
And then I think Marvin the Martian is being added.
Yeah, I think he wasn't part of the last one. I think he was like teased, but I don't think they ended up finally getting him out.
Right.
Okay, so there is differences between the beta and the final that I saw, but it's mostly like it looks like a lighting thing.
A little bit of
more
lighting
than anything.
Yeah.
Like a little just maybe sharper, a bit of detail here and there. Yeah.
A little bit of sharper lighting. But yeah, I mean, like Multiversus was always a pretty good idea. It is weird though to see Warner Brothers just like, well, our last live service game didn't really work, so bring back the other live service game, the live service crossover superhero video game. Like maybe that one will work. So
yeah, it was crazy because it was out for like months, and then one day they were just like, yeah, we're just gonna shut down the servers for now, and then we're just not. You can't like fight anybody online. Like you can still mess with what we had so far or whatever you got from it, but that's it. And it was very strange.
Rollback netcode as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so because I'm in the Multiversus subreddit, and a lot of the people were just like, "Is this dead?" Because we haven't no one said anything in like months. Because they said it was going to come out early this year.
Yeah,
which for unfortunately a lot of people don't understand how quarters work, and so a lot of people are like, that means it's like February or something, right? I'm like, no, I'm sorry guys, that's
Q4.
not how that works. Like this is earliest this will probably be like April was at least what my mind was thinking.
Yep.
And I didn't expect to hear anything. And then for a long time, the only reason people didn't know it was canceled was that for some reason in Europe there was a Multiversus partnership with McDonald's.
Okay.
That you could get Happy Meals that had like Multiversus stuff on it.
So something that like was where the deal was signed before they shut it down and they had to honor it
and
type
then,
of thing.
And then apparently like as now that they're finally coming out with it again, they're probably going to do those here in America now.
Okay.
With those McDonald's things because there's people started seeing those pop up in like announcements or something. And so they're like, okay, this means the game's not dead because if it was, this would have never happened.
Well, they put a pretty fair amount of work into it.
They put a lot of work into it. The only thing that worries me is that Kevin Conroy died.
Right.
So like, what are they going to do with Batman's voice lines?
I don't know.
Are they going to change him to a different Batman? Or are they going to do an AI thing? Or are they just not going to add anymore? Because that was one of the funnest things about it was that every time they added a new character, there were new voice lines for them talking to the new whatever the new character is for like either the one they won or where they lost, that kind of thing.
Can't they just get somebody that sounds a lot like Kevin Conroy?
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing is I would like that, but the thing is that like this is WB we're talking about. They're doing a lot of cost cutting.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that worries me about it.
Probably.
But at the same time, like if they didn't. Or if they're still going to use like what it has, like I'm just happy that Kevin Conroy would still be in it, kind of thing.
Sure.
So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, I never hated Multiversus. It just, like, being multiplayer only, it never gave me the opportunity. I liked Smash, the last one, the Ultimate or whatever.
This was, to me, the better of the Smash clones that's come out in a long time, especially the way the Nick one was. Because this one, like, made that one look terrible.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Still kind of does, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, just
so much more polished.
Looking at it just makes it look like, quite a bit better than it was. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll find out on May 28th. Speaking of licensed characters, Overwatch 2 is... I fucking hate it. I hate this so much.
Oh, dude, like it's even
I
funnier
hate it so much
because did you see the anime trailer they did? The anime trailer made them look really cool.
Yep.
And then you see the fucking the Cassidy Spike Spiegel.
Yep.
And he looks fucking terrible.
He looks bloated because he's a bigger guy.
Yeah.
And Spike is skinny, and like he had like also his hair doesn't look anything like Spike's hair.
Well, that's what makes it so funny, because the trailer had him using had the anime version of him in a hat.
Yeah.
And so people thought it was going to be like that with the hat.
Right.
And then it doesn't have one. And so you're like, what the fuck, guys?
So anyway, for anybody who doesn't know, they put 4 Cowboy Bebop skins in where Cassidy is Spike. Who's that shotgun lady? They just said
forgot her name because she was
Ash,
out afterwards
as Faye Valentine, and then the robot has like it's got like kind of like its head looks like I think, is it Jet's?
I can't remember.
Ship.
If I remember correctly, yeah.
Yeah, see, it's got kind of like a Bebop themed like on the robot.
And Cassidy's gun looks like Spike's ship.
Yeah. Sombra as Ed, which is really weird to me. Radical
Super
Edward is
weird.
a child, and
Like, I get why they did it, because she's a hacker kind of thing, but it's still weird.
Malga as Jet, which is also weird because he's a big guy, but he's also like
a big
twice
guy.
as wide as Jet is because he's a cartoon. Also, his hair is all gone, so he's like now bald. And then Wrecking Ball as Ein, which is also just very, very weird, and like
It's not really as Ein. He just looks like the hamster still.
Yeah.
Doesn't really look more like a Corey or anything.
Yeah. It's I think that okay. Fortnite, Call of Duty, we've got a lot of crossover skins that have been happening in different games, in different team ups and stuff. We had but the problem here is that the characters of Overwatch have their own personalities already.
Yeah.
Like the Fortnite, who's the Fortnite guy that's not the banana? Like the banana
Jonesy?
Yeah, they never had as much character. And then also when they made a skin for Fortnite, they just put that character in there.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Banana Man as Han Solo. It wasn't Meowscles as fucking Indiana Jones. It was just
just those characters.
Here's Indiana Jones. Here's Ash Williams. And here it looks so fucking weird and gross and wrong. And when I watched this trailer where they started playing tank and then they started showing Overwatch characters, I'm like, oh no guys, come on, please. I like Cowboy Bebop still. Don't do this to me, man.
Well, the funniest thing is that when you see them, you're like, they look kind of cool there.
Oh, in the actual animated trailer,
in the anime version of the trailer.
Yeah.
And then you see their character models and you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Especially Cassidy.
Yeah.
Cassidy's is to me the worst of the two.
Yeah.
Or all 4, actually, not the 2, because there's 4 of them.
There's 5 actually.
That's right. Yeah, the Wrecking Ball. And they're all like $25 each or something, apparently.
I think it's I thought it was I thought you got all of them for $25.
No, it's $25 each, because the internet has been very upset about this.
Okay. Each comes packaged in a $25 hero specific bundle. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, so if you want each...
Or you can buy all of them for $56.
Okay, so still though, that's still quite a bit.
Yeah.
That's the price of almost a full price game. And you could buy the entirety of Cowboy Bebop on Blu-ray for that much, if not less.
You should do that. You should do that instead. You shouldn't do the I don't know, man. This is just gross. This is gross, and
It's
I don't like
gross.
it. I don't, the problem is that Overwatch is big enough that they keep being like, oh, we put One Punch Man in Overwatch. I'm like, don't do that. That doesn't belong there. You get that out of there. You take that out of there. That doesn't belong there, man.
It just cracks me up because it's like, guys, all of this stuff would have been exciting in Overwatch 1.
Well, yeah, there's also that.
You went out of your way to make me hate this game.
Yeah.
There's no amount of anything you can put in this game.
Not even Ninja Turtles or Ghostbusters.
Cowboy Bebop is a good try. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It took Fortnite to add Goku to get me in there.
Right.
But even then, it was Goku. It wasn't Jonesy as Goku kind of thing.
Right.
So you're not going to get me back, guys.
The other thing that's really interesting is that apparently, a lot of Cassidy's emotes have the hat, and the hat just appears when the emotes happen. If it's an emote that has the hat,
It just appears.
it just pops into existence on his head and then like goes away once the emote is over. And I'm like, dude, you guys are better than this. I know your animators are better than this. Like,
it also looks a lot better with a hat on.
yeah. Well, yeah, true. It's just all no good. It's all no good. It's all bad, and I hate it. And like, it
just pisses me off.
Mostly because like I don't really care that much about. Like, I'm able to ignore a lot of this bullshit.
Okay, I didn't even realize this tweet actually brings up a great point.
Yeah,
is that Spike's hair
is green?
Is
like green?
It's green in the shape. It's Midoriya's hair,
right?
Is what he what he actually has.
Yeah,
and I didn't realize that until I saw this side by side of what it probably should have looked like.
Also, they changed just like the saturation on the outfit to make it look a little bit more. I don't know, man. It's just gross. It's freaking gross.
Yeah, it frustrates me.
I don't like it. I'm not interested. Like. But then, you know what? The simple fact of the matter is that I'm not really interested. Like, they could announce a new Cowboy Bebop game, and unless it was being made by somebody that I really trusted, I would be like, I don't care. That's going to be garbage anyway. Like,
that's true.
There's been a long and honorable history of making bad anime games. I'd be like, yes, we're making a new Cowboy Bebop game. Are you excited? I'm like, I don't know. What kind of game is it?
Yeah,
Arena Fighter? Oh, no, I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, we would have to know who's making it for us to ever get excited for an anime game nowadays.
Yep. Speaking of crossovers, I mentioned this last week, but we actually got a trailer for it. Warhammer 40K in Call of Duty.
Warhammer 40K has been having a huge push all of a sudden the past like 5 years or so.
Yeah. They'll license to just about anyone, and Warhammer is so desperate for anything. Spawn, fucking Alucard.
You're saying Call of Duty.
Call of Duty, yes.
You said Warhammer. I was like, when did they add Spawn to Warhammer?
Sorry, Call of Duty's like just so desperate for anything that's like, oh, I know, I get that reference that. Because like there's only one of these skins that actually has the size of an actual Space Marine.
Yeah.
Like there's one guy with this fucking like, oh, I've got a mohawk and a vest that's slightly themed after the Blood Angels, and I'm like, this has nothing to do with fucking Warhammer.
Yeah. It just looks like it somewhat.
It's just slightly, but like, yeah. So only these like big guys had that.
Like Space Marines, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's happening. I guess.
I don't know what to say. Like I wasn't that big in the Warhammer, but who knows? Maybe Cavill's Warhammer thing, whenever that gets made, will make people new fans of that series.
The thing is that like Warhammer is cool, but like there's never been like a movie.
Oh, that's what I mean, though.
Show or anything.
Well, because that's what Cavill's working on now,
right?
And we'll see how that goes. Because people are very worried about that sort of thing.
Yeah, which would be cool if they
it helps that he's a giant fucking nerd of it. Yeah, so that will help immensely.
Absolutely. We got the launch trailer for the Battlefront Classic Collection. Speaking of space references, apparently this thing is terrible.
It's one of the worst like releases like ever. Apparently.
So do you want to know something interesting? Do you know who put this out?
It was Aspire, I think.
Yes. Do you remember what? You remember what happened with Aspire and Star Wars?
I do, yeah.
They were supposed to be making the KOTOR thing, and then they showed it to Lucas, and then they immediately got taken off the project, and like one of their producers got fired, and then I think they got relegated. Just be like, okay, just go fucking port Battlefront. I guess
that's the last thing we'll have you guys do.
Get out of my hair and go port Battlefront.
Yeah, because there are people who still don't know that they were taken off of it too. Because after this release happened and it got so fucked that there are people being like, I'm really worried about that KOTOR remake, and there's people in the comments like, you're fine. It's Saber now.
Yeah,
we're fine now.
So what was the problem with this? It's just like a bad server connectivity.
The issue is that for some of it is that there's not enough servers for the amount of people who wanted to play this game.
Oh, okay.
And also, there's a lot of connectivity issues. There's some hitbox issues.
Yeah.
There's some of the connectivity causes people not to spawn correctly. There's a lot wrong with it.
How did you do that? The game was done. It was already finished.
There was so much wrong with it, apparently.
Okay.
There's like a long, there's a giant list that people have made of and that was just some of what people found on it.
This is the cash grab. All you had to do, you had one job.
Yeah, that's what they all said. You had one job, was just to make this game work.
Right.
And this thing would have sold like gangbusters. And it did, to be honest. This is the issues. It's going to have like the worst player count.
Yeah.
It's at like mostly negative. I think it's like at 21% on Steam right now.
Also, like, I don't know, man. man, you guys could have spent a little bit of time making this look a little bit better. Like, it's so like old and janky, and like there's so much in here that I want more out of my video games than like, fucking 12-year-old textures.
And honestly, most people would have been fine with it.
Yeah.
If the game worked correctly.
Yeah.
And that's really the biggest issue. I'd
almost rather had them just take the whole thing and redo the art so that it looked more like Fortnite, so it was just like smooth and flat and like kind of cartoony.
If they would do that, it would have to be another developer at this point.
Oh yeah,
because Aspire has proven that they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Oh yeah, Aspire sucks assholes. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, if you want to play it, it's out. Whatever.
Aren't they here in town or something, or was that the one that shut down?
I don't know.
I could have sworn they were here in town.
Aspire might be in Austin. I don't remember what they've got a real bad. Yeah, Austin, Texas. Founded the year I graduated high school.
Oh shit.
1996. List of games ported by Aspire. They don't even have like a list of games developed by Aspire. Just like, yep.
Shit.
A lot of stuff over the years.
It's mostly like PC stuff, right? PC ports in the beginning.
They did a bunch of the Star Wars Switch ports.
No, I mean in the beginning when they first started. Like I think they did stuff to
looks like Mac OS,
okay,
like a big chunk of Mac stuff from their beginning. And then a few console games and more Mac. It looks like a lot of Mac. It looks like a lot of Mac ports over the years.
To Mac. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, it looks like eventually they started porting stuff over to like DS and a few other places. They put Supreme Commander out on the 360.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So let's see. From there, here's another one I don't entirely understand at all, Michael. Did you know that Tribes 3 Rivals went into early access this week?
I did not know that.
Yeah, it did. I've never been a Tribes guy. And watching this trailer made me even less of a Tribes guy than I already was.
Yeah.
It's like roller skating through the air and shooting fucking frisbees at people that are like 1,000,000 miles away at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and then like capture the flag in these giant empty maps. And I'm like, no, thank you. No, sir, I said.
Looking at this, I get it. But the problem is I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't think I could handle that.
Like there's this IGN quote where they're like, it doesn't feel like every other modern shooter. And I'm like, I don't know if that's a good thing, you guys. Like,
it's hard to tell. That's the issue. But the problem is I don't think I could handle this sort of game anymore.
Yeah. It looks just like
you have to really practice something like that.
It looks really not very good. I mean, well, it looks like Tribes. I've never cared for Tribes.
Yeah, that's
it looks like Tribes.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't even know. There's like parts of this trailer where they're shooting at people, and they're like leading their target by so much, and then it's just like boom, one shot, killed them. I'm like, how did you know how far ahead to lead your frisbee shot? Like that shot right there, where that guy shot. And I was like, how the fuck did you know? It was like meters and meters down and to the right, and then I guess.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, you have to really practice a game like this.
Yeah.
Like that's the reason I could never get into something like this. I'd have to spend hours just being like, okay, this is how I know how to get this specific shot from this distance.
Yeah,
because everybody's moving so fast. But I was just like, I don't want to deal with this anymore.
Blurg. Here's something that's more interesting. Dead by Daylight has a new character. Called like the Unknown, and it's
for that Willy Wonka thing.
It's very weird. They put out this trailer that's like in a movie theater, and it's kind of like 80s themed with like this character skin of this person walking around, and then like in the background of a lot of the shots you can see the monster kind of come in. Like here, let me see if I can find let's see if I can show you what this thing looks like, because it's they did it's crazy. It's not a licensed monster. It's original.
Oh, so they finally made another original.
It is horrifying. Wait. Yeah. Let's see if I can find a frame where they show it. So, seeing. Oh, they're talking about Chucky. Wait, I clicked on the wrong video. Let's see if I can get to the beginning here. So it's like this, twisted around, like it's backwards.
Yeah.
Like its waist is backwards and its head is like turned around and it like flops down on the ground and like crawls, and it's got this weird distended. It looks like it kind of reminds me of Vincent D'Onofrio when he's wearing the Egger mask in Men in Black.
Like
sort
the skin
of
is just like flappy and just kind of like gross,
like twisted, and like over something, and
he doesn't have like eyes.
Yeah, and it's got like this little like little thing that comes out of its stomach that like, shoots like acid at people.
Oh my god, that thing is horrifying.
But then all of its like voice lines are like, "Can you help me find my dog?" Like,
oh my god,
help me please, where are you? Like this very like something that doesn't understand what people is, trying to be a people,
or it's like just trying to trick people to come out,
right? And it's just like very, very fucking weird.
That is horrifying. And even like the first person of its hands and shit, it's just gross.
It's real gross looking. It's got like a thing where you can set down like a hallucination of it, and then you can like jump back to it. This is like the acid thing that you can shoot that'll slow people down.
This is, I think,
like,
my favorite of the originals they've made.
Yeah,
because they've made some like really just like weird originals that are on the like the last one they did, which was the hacker lady.
Right.
I was like, that lady's okay, I guess, but this is top notch, like horrifying.
Yeah, it's really gross.
Like this is like if this was in a horror movie, I would legitimately be afraid of it.
Like it's a great character design. Like it's a very, very good character design. And it's very like disturbing looking because none of its movements are correct.
Yeah.
They're all wrong for like a bipedal entity.
God, I think it's just horrifying looking.
Yeah, it's very weird. I recommend everybody go look it up. Speaking of horror, we got a brand new cinematic trailer. V Rising has a release date. V Rising has been in early access since it came out.
Oh, yeah.
So it's finally going into 1.0. And then it also has a console release date.
Because at the same time?
On consoles. No, it's a little after. They also have a kind of an animated like launch trailer that's kind of all in the style. Apparently, I don't know if this was added at some point or what, but like they show the vampires killing a bunch of the different bosses in the game, but then at the very end they tease like that apparently the last boss is going to be fucking Dracula.
Oh,
like
that's fun.
Your vampire will have to fight actual giant armored Dracula.
It's me, the Dracula, as seen in Blade 3.
Right. It's a very Blade 3 Dracula. So, May 8th is when it's coming out, and then there's at some point it's going to be out on the PS5.
Oh, okay. So they don't
sometime
have
this
a
year.
release yet. That's probably late, or either late or summer. I could see.
Yep. Let's see. We had this is a really interesting game. I've never heard of it before, and I just looked it up, called Venture to Vile. It's like a Metroidvania, but kind of like a disturbing storybook Metroidvania, like kind of 2.5D Metroidvania, where you play as like a little kid, and there's like these kind of giant monsters, and it's like it doesn't look like it's like super scary, but it also looks like it's got a little bit more like action focus, and I like a lot of the design work that they're doing in here.
Yeah, the art style on it's really good because stuff is horrifying, but not like insanely horrifying.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't have to keep looking, like you can look at the screen without being like, oh geez, kind of thing.
What's really weird about it though is that it's being made by this place called Cut to Bits, but then apparently it's being published by Aniplex.
Yeah, that's the thing that caught me off guard when you got to that part. I was like, what the hell?
Aniplex?
Well,
like
that's weird,
what?
but sure, I guess.
So yeah, it's kind of nuts. I don't know. It's coming out like soon, May 7th.
Okay, that's not too far away.
Also, we got the PC reveal trailer for Slayaway Camp 2. I don't know if you remember this. It was like a puzzle game where you play as like you play as like a hockey mask wearing serial killer, where you're kind of doing like moving like through a grid, kind of like Rogue almost.
That's fun.
But then it's all takeoffs, so it'll be like a generic version of Friday the 13th called like Slayaway Camp, and then there'll be like another one where you're playing as like it's the mother of the Slayaway Camp killer, referencing the first Friday the 13th.
That's pretty fun.
This was only on phones. This came out from Netflix on just phones for a little while.
Okay. And
they're actually putting it out on PC. I remember the first one of these being pretty fun, where it was like, it's a puzzle game.
Yeah.
You're trying to kind of figure out how to murder people via puzzle. So
that's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And that's coming out. They have a full release date? Oh no, it's just a reveal. It's coming out on Steam. So yep. Let's see. From there, Speaking of horrifying stuff that people may or may not want to see, we got another Empire of the Ants trailer, which is this Unreal Engine 5 like hyper realistic ant like RPG kind of thing.
That's
almost
crazy shit. Yeah.
Like where they're just, instead of trying to make really realistic looking humans, they're just making really realistic looking bugs. Sometimes it ends up looking a little weird when there's like because there's parts where you have a bunch of ants that are like those ants that can shoot like little bursts of stuff, like attacking something. But a lot of it is like, oh, here's a spider, and you and your ant buddies are going to have to try to take down like a giant spider or like a snail or something. And then there's like some points where there's just like a lot of fucking ants on screen.
Yeah, holy shit.
I don't know. It's interesting to see something that's like, yeah, that's a snail just getting swarmed. It's interesting to see like them using just the number of units that can be put on screen and doing something that's so kind of alien and different.
Yeah,
I'm excited for it.
It helps that since a lot of the ants tend to look the same, you can have a lot of the same model without too many issues.
Repeat the same thing over and over again. And apparently, I didn't know this. This is based on a book.
What the fuck?
There's a French dude, Bernard Werber, who I went and looked this up on Wikipedia, who wrote like a book. The first trilogy of books about like ants and people. And the first one is split between like a guy that lives in Paris and an ant in like the park in Paris that are... And the ant is like dealing with politics inside of the ant mound, and the guy is like dealing with his work or something, and somehow their stories start to parallel.
That's so strange.
And I'm like, because I saw this trailer that says based on a book, based on somebody's saga, and I was like, the ant thing, like, I don't know.
I would have been more surprised if it was based on Woody Allen's ants.
I don't know. Yeah, it'd be weird. Like if you saw a game with like hyper realistic rats, and they were like based on The Secret of Nim, and you're like, wait, what?
Based on Ratatouille.
Yeah,
it's like a.
Let's see. Another kind of interesting zoomed out stuff. We got a 13-minute trailer for a game called Falling Frontier that I'd never heard of before. That is basically like something that I've wanted for a long time, which is like a space tactics game. Mixed with kind of a strategy game. This game has been pushed out to next year, but they've shown it off, and so it's very kind of like Homeworld, but it's not like as super tactical. It's a little bit more stripped down. Like I read an interview with the developer, they said that the ships are very much based on like naval ships, so they look a lot like, not exactly, but they look a lot kind of like an actual, like a warship, and then apparently you could just like really customize the ever-loving shit out of them. And they kind of show like going through to different areas. I don't know. This is just Jeff Nip. Like this is the shit that I want, where you can take a hyper jump between different areas and then like fight some dudes and do some trade and mine some shit. It was interesting. I liked, there was a point where they showed some combat, and I couldn't tell when the enemies were defeated, because when they're defeated, their ships just go dead and float lifelessly.
Oh, there's one of those.
That one's just dead. And I was
like, it just keeps moving from the momentum.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
it's very rare when that sort of thing happens in a game.
Very like tidy interface as well.
Yeah,
like I read a lot of books that kind of have this kind of conceits, and so I've been wanting to like just play a game where it's not as technical as Homeworld, but just like, can I just like be a spaceship guy and go fight some spaceship battles that don't require me to think in fucking 4 dimensions and plan 8 steps ahead?
Like because they're like Homeworlds like that too, I think.
Yeah. Oh, and then at the end they do a planetary bombardment, and it's just fucking horrifying. Like the ship is just pissing missiles out that go out and then like fall down, and like each one of them was like a nuke or something. Like they're showing like these giant, like this whole planet just fucking saturated in explosions. Yeah,
those explosions are real big for what's happening,
and there's a lot of them.
Yeah, but you can see them from really far away apparently.
Yeah,
holy shit.
So it's kind of cool. Yeah, go check it out. Called Falling Frontier. Not coming out until next year, but apparently it's also one of these like an indie dev with a dream kind of things, and I always appreciate those.
I love those guys. They're the ones who can make things that most people don't even think about.
We got a cinematic trailer for a game called Nobody Wants to Die. Have you seen this?
No.
So this is like a real gravelly like private detective voiceover thing of a guy, and it starts out really striking where it's a guy like, it's got a lot of, so the art style of this is crazy because it's a split between a 1940s hard-boiled detective and like steampunk future.
Yeah.
Like, and in the beginning, he's like drinking whiskey at a bar while time is like to a crawl, and like he's just sitting there, and then he like uses this little wristband to kind of move through time, and then they kind of have a voiceover talking about like how he's got to find like these criminals and figure out these mysteries. And it's very like, again, it's very like 1940s but the future.
Yeah,
it kind of reminds me a little bit of BioShock in the way of that, like, oh, the style stopped but the tech continued type of thing. And there's some really interesting imagery. It's got really nice production values. They're kind of showing off like the origins of this explosion that goes all the way back to kind of when the guy ordered his drink. And it looks really cool. He also talks about if he doesn't do his job, he'll get like dragged to hell by demons.
Oh.
And like, there's nothing in here that shows as a single bit of gameplay. But for the style, I'm like, yeah, man, Ghost in the Shell, but 1940s? Sure.
I am very interested in what you are.
Yeah.
I just hope it's a game that I would like to play.
It's
That's
being
really what
published
comes
by
down to.
PlayOn,
That's weird.
which is, I feel like, mostly associated with like Chinese
That's why I'm
multiplayer
surprised by
games.
that, yeah. I hope this turns out as good as it looks, because this is really a really cool trailer.
Yeah, it's very cool. You should go back and watch it with the sound, because it's very, very hard-boiled detective type of stuff.
Yeah, I've been really into. I'm always a big fan of that genre and type of character.
I just love this part at the beginning where he's drinking he's drinking his whiskey in this like slowed down place, and the minute he lets go of the glass, it gets like integrated into the time stream and starts slow motion disintegrating from the explosion that's happening just like right next to him. I think that's a very cool effect. Whoever made this trailer, great job, everybody.
Yeah, a super good trailer for something I really want to know more about.
Yeah, you did your job well. Let's see. Speaking of weird shit, Children of the Sun got a release date. This is that weird game that Devolver is publishing that's like Super Hot plus Sniper Elite. I don't know if you know about this.
No.
Where when you shoot your bullet, and then when it hits people, you can burn out after touch it to the next person. So it's like a puzzle game where you're like driving one bullet between a bunch of different people.
That's crazy.
And I think it's based on like your character has escaped from like a cult, and now you've come back with this magic sniper rifle / bullet to like take out the cult in this kind of grimy, like kind of grimy Americana thing. And
That's
it's all
crazy.
really weird looking. Like it's very psychedelic. It's got a very like intense art style. Yeah, and they announced it like not that long ago, but they put out the release date. I like the way they did the release date too, where they have the person kind of curve the bullet around, and then they zoom out, and that's what the number was. So
that's really cool.
April 9th of 2024, coming out. Looks good. They had a demo for on it for Steam Next Fest, and I didn't play it because I kind of just wanted to go into it blind because it looks very, very cool, very like good style. Again. Once those union delays come down, you can be like, did I ever play that Children of the Sun game? Let me go back and play that instead of bitching online about how I can't play the next Final Fantasy game
exactly
2 months ahead of time. So, El Shaddai Ascension of the Metatron HD Remaster has a release date.
I did not see that coming.
Yep. Guys, this game sucks. I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I like it. Like,
this is the one where people turn into Skittles or whatever, right?
Yeah, kind of. It's very weird. It's where the main character is like an angel that wears blue jeans, and then like we reviewed it on Spill. I think that's the only reason anybody remembers it. And just in conjunction with Jeff from RageSelect / the loading bar.
I just remember the name of it because El Shaddai is like it's a name that's like hard to forget.
Yeah,
but also because it was a bad game.
Yeah,
like there's a reason why it didn't sell well when it came out.
That's very true.
I don't know why anyone would HD remaster this thing. I like how it says the acclaimed El Shaddai.
I think it's
who is it acclaimed by?
I think it's got a weird cult following. I think it's like people who were really into like Near Replicant or something. Like really liked it. But
that's so weird.
April 28th. It's coming out only on the Switch, which I'm like, it doesn't even look that good for a Switch port. Like this is an old fucked up bad game. Like I don't know.
That's so weird.
I don't know.
That's so strange.
You and I will have to play it when it comes out, Michael.
Oh God.
There we go. To go back and see if we're missing it. we had another big announcement. That System Shock remake is coming to PS4, PS5.
I keep feeling like that's been, we talked about that for years now at this point. I feel like
The remake?
Yeah.
Well, we've talked about the remake for a long time, and it came out last year, but it was just for the PC, right? So,
yeah, it's just I feel like it being like the fact that it's finally coming out on a console is surprising to me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it, like for some reason my mind's still like it's still in development, right? Like no, no, man, it like came out like it's just yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
I might end up getting it after that. It's weird because I do have a PC. I just keep forgetting. Yeah.
I mean, System Shock was a great formative game, so it's worth playing. And Nighttime did a really good job remastering it. It's coming out May 21st on the consoles. I don't know. I feel like there's plenty of people out there who know quite a bit about GLaDOS, but do not know anything about Shodan.
No.
AKA GLaDOS is passive aggressive. Shodan is just aggressive.
Yes. System Shock is the granddaddy of a lot of your favorite types of shooters.
Yep.
So yeah.
And then last but not least on the trailer parade, this is one of the weirdest fucking things I've ever seen, Michael. Sea of Stars is getting couch co-op.
How does that work?
With up to 3 players, where each person can play one of the 3 characters in your party.
Huh.
And they're actually going in because like one of the things about it is that like a lot of times you can have like team up attacks where 2 people will do a thing, but then there's like a button press that you have to do to get like bonus attacks and stuff.
Yeah.
And they've redone a lot of those so that if you're playing 2-player, there'll be like a button input from both people to like keep the attacks going back and forth.
That's amazing.
Not that many JRPGs that you could play couch co-op with. And also, Sea Stars is great.
I can't think of a single one that you can do that with.
Yep. I can't either. I'm sure there's probably one, but
it's
I can't
not something
think of
I've
it.
ever thought like you could make work.
Yep.
But go for it, guys.
This is and then not online. There's no way to play it online. It's just couch co-op,
which makes sense because that's probably how like you can't get the lag input online correctly if you want it. If for what they probably want it to work like.
You'd have to integrate netcode. It doesn't have any netcode right now, so.
That's crazy.
It's a great game, though. Very fantastic. I went back and played it when I was doing my recap of 2023 games. Absolutely fantastic. In fact, it would be a fun game in a lot of ways to play co-op because it's not. It's a JRPG that's not 1 billion hours long, and a lot happens in it to where like there keep being like plot twists and new mechanics and new characters, and here's a new area and here's a new boss and stuff. So,
nice.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's finish up with a couple of quick things. There wasn't actually a lot in the release date announcement things, but they did announce that PS Plus is getting Midnight Suns, and this is your reminder. Go play Midnight Suns.
Please play Midnight Suns.
Please.
Midnight Suns is so good.
We want more Midnight Suns and less Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, and I don't even hate that game. So.
Also, that game ended on a cliffhanger, and I'm frustrated.
Oh, did it?
It does end on a cliffhanger.
Oh, I didn't know that. So we want a sequel.
Yeah.
We don't have people to get a sequel. Yeah. Actually, last month was kind of crap for PS Plus stuff, but this month is pretty good because it's Midnight Suns, Resident Evil 3, and Kakarot on the PS5. And then if you've got the premium, you can also get JoJo All-Star Battle R, the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney trilogy, and then some PSP and PS1 games. So
some decent ones on there.
Yeah. Just not really useful for you or I because we bought all these things already.
These things, yeah, for the most part.
But
the ones that we want on here, we have them already.
You've already played all the way through all of Kakarot on the PS5, yes.
Not the PS5 version, but yes and no, because I did all the DLC on PS5. But I did the main game on PS4. But I plan on going back and doing a full playthrough now that everything is out.
Yeah.
That way I can just experience the entire thing.
Let's see. As previously mentioned, people are doing incredible things with the Dragon's Dogma character creator.
Some fun things, some weird things, all the things.
Here's a Timothy Chalamet from Dune. That was pretty good. I know this doesn't work for a lot of people, but we have emo Peter Parker from Spider-Man 3, which is pretty good. Lae'zel from Baldur's Gate.
It's crazy
3.
the shit people make out of this thing.
Yeah, some people making Elden Ring characters. Leon Kennedy, which I think is pretty fun.
That's pretty good.
It's kind of just a smattering of people. Yeah, there's they've done some good stuff. It's been a long time since I've seen a character creator abused to this limit. Like somebody made Uncle Ruckus from the Boondocks, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I saw the Larry David one before I came.
And what's his face? Nigel
Thornberry.
Thornberry,
smashing.
There's Ganon.
Everybody the Kingdom Ganon.
Everybody always wants to put Ganon in a variety of different stuff. I remember when Elden Ring came out and they were putting Ganon in Elden Ring.
As long as it fits the aesthetic.
Yeah, that's true.
It makes sense. But yeah, I saw some weird ones though. Somebody made like a cat person that looks like Garfield. Oh. Another person, like I said, made Larry David. Like I think somebody made Danny DeVito or something.
Yeah.
Like the crazy amount of shit people are able to make with it. I can't help but like wonder how these people are able to figure out how to do all that with that much time.
Yeah.
Like the sheer amount of patience for that must be amazing.
Absolutely. Let's see. Well, speaking of, we had a reference of Leon Kennedy. Speaking of Leon Kennedy, some crazy ass son of a bitch made a mod for Resident Evil 2 that puts it back to fixed camera angles.
Really?
They added 1,700 fixed camera angles to the game and modded it so that, like, as you run through the RE2 remake, it basically goes through the static camera angles of the game. And not only that, but because you can't aim over your shoulder anymore, they also added a lock-on aim with a laser sight so that you could see where you're shooting in the game. And there's even some camera angles where they showed one. You remember the library?
Yeah.
How long it is. They showed one camera where like you start at one side and as you're running across it like pans with you.
That's really cool.
They did an incredible job of like recreating like a thing that I hated and I didn't want. I mean, like fixed camera angles can be scarier a lot of times because you can't tell what's around the corner. You can't like look. That control is taken away from you. So it can end up being more like there's the library one where it can end up being more like thrilling.
Yeah.
Right. But for the most part, no.
Well, there's a reason we don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And part of it is because there's one sequence that you showed where he's running through, I think it's one of the towers, where it just cuts like 5 times.
Right.
like in like a 10-second time frame.
Or if you accidentally like go through and then like because it has to be in a way where once you move to the next camera angle, your character has to keep running in the same direction no matter where your stick is pointed because you don't want to have to readjust every time the camera moves, which is why the tank controls were there in the first place.
Yeah.
But this is pretty solid ass work, man.
No,
like,
it's working really well.
Yeah.
Like it's scary how much this like seems to just be the game.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
This is by Alpha Z Omega.
You crazy bastard! Good for you. You're crazy as shit, but good for you.
Yep.
Now do something like this with Final Fantasy VII. Like turn it into an RPG.
Oh, Michael, it's funny you should mention that because I do have a Final Fantasy VII mod for you, and it's the one that gives all the women huge ass muscles.
Oh my god.
So
that's amazing.
This was a modder that once the Final Fantasy VII Remake was out on PC, that started with first off, this is somebody who has some kind of muscle domination fetish.
They have to. 2,
they were like, Tifa is too small to be a punchin' people character. So they started by making Tifa into just this jacked out Tifa.
She is massive.
But then they didn't stop there because then they also did it with Aerith. Which
the Aerith is horrifying because it doesn't work.
Diminutive she is. This is the scene where she's kind of like leaning down and like looking up at Cloud, and she's wearing like a dress, and it's just holy shit.
It doesn't work as well for her because it's just horrifying for her.
And then they also did Yuffie.
It works great for Tifa and Yuffie to me for some reason.
Yeah,
not so much with Aerith,
but. Do you want to know what their names are?
No. Or actually, yes, I do want to know. Sorry.
It's Aerith Gainsborough, Bifa, or no, Buffy. Yeah, Buffy and Bifa. So instead of Tifa, it's Bifa, and instead of Yuffie, it's Buffy.
That's so fucked. I love that, but that's so fucked.
Yeah. So yeah, you could totally.
The buff Tifa is really well done, though.
Yeah.
Oh my god. The buff hair scares me.
Yeah. She's got the big, huge legs.
Okay, it works a little better when she wears her normal outfit.
Without like looking at that specific.
Yeah, it's the problem is because the problem is that the ones that where it doesn't work is where it shows the a lot of their arms, so like it shows how distorted it looks.
Jesus, Tifa.
But when it's covered, it actually it ends up making it work a little bit better.
What do they keep all these pictures of her in this like covering up outfit?
That has to be another mod of some kind. I don't remember that outfit. Oh no, wait, no, I do remember that outfit now. But
yep.
But Jesus, H Christ.
So yeah, if you want your Final Fantasy VII ladies with big old muscles, the internet has you covered, Michael. I don't know if you know this, but the internet has something for you.
Here's the thing. I realize more about the modding community is they're all crazy people.
Of course.
I saw that. I've seen the weird Leon mods for Resident Evil 2.
Yep.
Or not Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 4.
Yep.
That are so like not safe for work.
Ears and chaps and no shirt. Yeah.
I saw one that was way worse. It was him in like cat ears. Just like, but like he had like his holster, but only that, and that was it, basically. And he was just naked, and so his dick, they modeled a dick that just flopped as he walked.
The whole thing is that every modding community starts with like, well, can I take their clothes off? And it's like, no. Okay, well, I'm going to figure out how to take their clothes off. Wait a minute. What do you mean they don't have dongs and nips and vajigis and whatever? Okay, we're going to learn how to put private parts on everybody when they have their clothes off.
I also saw what I know this is probably not the name of it, but I call it Donut Ashley, which is where they just turned Ashley's character model into a fat version of Ashley.
Yep.
That's all they did to it.
Yep. Because it's based on Donut Drake, right?
I guess it is.
Donut Drake was the fat Drake in Uncharted.
That's the reason I call it Donut Ashley. I don't know the actual name of the mod.
Oh, okay.
But I bet you it is called that, but goddamn.
You want to know what there's not in this world, though, Michael?
What's that?
Nobody has put Khajiit into Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, or Starfield.
How is that not a thing?
And I checked really hard for reasons that people who get to the end of this podcast will understand why Jeff might want to put a Khajiit into another video game that's not Skyrim. desperately badly.
Yep.
Last but not least, we got some Lego stuff. So we got some new Mario Lego sets are coming. First off, they announced that there's going to be a Mario Kart Lego set.
Oh. How does that work?
I don't know, but it's like there's just a teaser for it. It just shows kind of like a silhouette of a car and then the Lego Mario. The better one is that there's 3 new sets coming for just like straight up Lego Mario. One of them is a King Boo Haunted Mansion, which I kind of like, that has a giant square Boo King
fun.
Boo on it.
I love that,
which is pretty fun.
It's the 64 level.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. One of them is the Peach's Castle with Roy.
Okay.
And then this one was pretty fun. This is my favorite. It's like a train, but it's a Bowser train.
Yeah, that was from... There's a specific one where it looks like that, but I can't remember what it is anymore.
It's a train, but the front of the train is Bowser's head.
That's a fun one.
What I love the most, though, Michael, is this Goomba down here.
Is a top hat.
He's got a top hat and a mustache. And he's waiting for the train.
That's I love that.
And
that's
not just
really
that,
cool.
but he's got like a wife, like with a little like sun hat, who's also like waiting for the train or whatever.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And that's all good, but you will never be able to get me to spend $120 on Legos.
Oh, yeah.
However, there is one that is $300, and I kind of am interested in it. Did you see this?
I did.
This is the Batman, the animated series one.
It's like a big old background.
It's like a painting. It's like one of those flat ones, so it's just all 2D, and it has like these pieces that come off. So it's got like a place down here where you can take this front piece off, and then there's like a bat cave where you can put the Batmobile. It's in this this news story.
Know that.
And there's like little if you unlock things, there's like little pictures of like, oh, here's Catwoman. It's a little cat paws, and like here's a little Batmobile. Look at the way it's made into the bat symbol. And it comes with some minifigs of Catwoman and Batman and Joker and Harley. But like it's pretty. in a way where you could like display it.
Yeah.
And it would be like
you could frame that
yeah,
kind of thing.
That's cool because it's got like the police blimps and everything, and then like you could see in this one place where it's got like Batman standing on the top of the building.
Oh, that's
like,
fucking
from
cool.
the beginning of the series. It's got like the police department,
so the Batwing and the Bat left there.
Yep,
I said the Bat left.
the Bat left
To the Bat left.
Like you got these little smoke coming out of these little chimneys at the
Robin, you go Bat right, I'll go Bat left.
At the Ace Chemical. So yeah, it's cool. That's very cool. That's $300 though, and that's a little much for cool.
It must be pretty big though, if that's the case.
Oh, it's huge. You saw a picture of the person at the beginning.
Yeah. That is huge.
Like making it.
Yeah, the only other thing I've almost bought that's that much that's a Lego besides the Millennium Falcon is the Daily Bugle. Because I think it's massive.
I looked a lot at the NES, the TV with
I keep
the
seeing
Mario
that one.
but I just I can't.
Yeah. And the only reason I haven't bought any Legos is purely because I'm like I don't know where I would put any of these things.
Well, you have a place now to put them, right?
Yeah, but I don't have like
you got a whole Lego room.
Like I would have to figure out how to like display them still or whatever. Like there's one that I'm thinking about. The Daily Bugle is the one that I'm still considering, but I don't know.
I need some shelves.
That's the thing. I need more shelves.
And with that, we have now gone 5 minutes over time. So cool.
I knew it. I knew we could do it.
Michael,
mission accomplished.
Tell them where they can find you when you're not over here helping me go over time.
You can find me on oneofus.net. We do a lot of movie television reviews. I should be doing one on Ghostbusters soon. It'll be by the time it'll be probably next week.
Threw my whole schedule out of whack. Ghostbusters. Yeah, go check that out. Make sure to go check that out. And then, hey, if you made it all the way to the end here, you might be interested in going to patreon.com/RageSelect. It does take a fair amount of work. That's the reason I've had 5 coffees today to put out this podcast every week. So if you enjoy it and you enjoy listening to it, I don't make you listen to the sales pitch at the front. I make you listen to it at the end. Don't make me put the sales pitch in the front. Come on, please don't. I don't want to. I don't want to seek out sponsors. You don't want to have to hear an ad read in this bullshit instead of just some jazzy music between the segments. Actually, Michael, nobody's going to give me money for ads. They're going to be like, what's your numbers? And I'm going to be like, it's a secret. My numbers are a secret. They'll be like, yeah, don't give this guy any. Well, don't give him any free mattresses or HelloFreshes.
I remember when Audible messaged you, were like, fuck those guys.
Fuck those guys. Now I pay for Audible out of money that comes into patreon.com/RageSelect. That's it. Get out of my house. Bye, everybody.